J Squad.
We gotta find now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find
Yo, what is going on, everybody? It is another beautiful day today. A beautiful, what are we on, Wednesday now? Fuck, I can't think of any. I can't remember what day it is to save my life. Yes, Simon, we're going to be talking about Chibi reviews. Chibi reviews and his, that's right, Lucas, and his defense. I thought, like, this has to be an April Fool's joke, right? But then I remembered who we were talking about. We were talking about Chibi himself. And we were talking about Chibi himself. And we all know Chibi, right? Oh, so let's get into it, man. Let's get going. Most of this is going to be reading, so no gaming in the background tonight. Boop. You'll just have to enjoy the brown wall. What's up, Mike? How you doing today? Lucas, Nasmir, Simon, as always. Chibi is very clickbaity and dishonest. Yeah, he is. Part of me has gotten to the point that I think his like it's so hard for me to believe that he would continue to talk about his haters. We'll see it. I mean, we already see the start of it up here. You know, if you don't happen to know who Chibi Reviews is, he used to be a anime content creator. He talked about anime, did anime reviews. Then something clicked or his channel started dying. So he went ahead and decided to go down like the anti-woke grift side. He started doing streams with Tectone and other people like that. Got himself into a lot of controversies, a lot of lolly protection, a lot of other things that has just completely messed it. On top of that, he started getting a lot of hate, And the problem is he couldn't. He's a lolcow. He can't not say something about it. So the trolls started going after him. He started going after the trolls, and I mean the trolls fought back. He's been doxxed. He's been all sorts of crazy stuff. But instead of like staying quiet and not talking about his docs, he has to talk about his docs. Yeah, I remember when he said that lolly was suddenly going to be, or suddenly anime was going to be illegal, and I was like, that's not really what they're saying or what they're going for in that, which is hella funny given that he defended it. Into Leaflet and Nuxtaku during their respectable controversies. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of expected. Like when you hear of Lolly Protector or you think of Chibi Reviews. Chibi Reviews is going to be on in those trenches. I mean, his whole feed is just degenerate shit anyway. Okay, not seen the video or arguments he made, so this is preemptive to the usual NPC Lolly argument. Fictional prawn of children is not equivalent to entertainment violence like GTA. Yes. Yep. Let's find out if he's already go ahead and his BS without even watching it. All right. So Slop, a predator hunter, who like I didn't know of Slop until recently when he was going after he made it into the news with Roblox, you know, the haven of predators out there. And Slop, from what I believe, that's what he mostly does is predator hunting on Roblox, right? So he came in and made this comment right here. So we'll pull it up. Lolicon is pedophilia. If you gratify yourself to sexualized images of children, of animated children, you are a predator. The fact X allows a community of these people to thrive on here is very shocking. Do better at safety. You know. So now, funny enough, this got community noted. If there's anything that like, if there is any community on the internet that is like driven together into one group, it's the Lolicons. And based on a common sense tweet from Shep. Yeah, it's just really that basic thing. Lolly is bad. Honestly, I find it kind of funny that Lolly King himself hasn't gotten involved in this drama. See, I don't even know who Lolly King is. This is like your realm of people, mostly Simon, right? Rev, and people like that. So it got community noted. Slop falsely claims fiction is, I'm guessing CSAM, sexual exploitation material. They quoted the law. They quoted the law. This section, blah, 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 blah. But if you look at what he says, he's not saying that it's illegal, right? He's saying that you're a predator. And I'm sorry, I can absolutely agree with that on many levels. Like, if you look at sexual images of children and you jerk off to that, I'm sorry, you're a pedophile, right? Do you need to go to jail or anything like that? No, you haven't committed a crime. I don't believe in putting people in jail who haven't committed a crime, but porn has never stopped, normal porn has never stopped me from wanting to have sex. So I don't know why lollies would use this argument to be like, oh no, that'll never happen. There was some big like thing where there was a guy got arrested. I don't remember if he got arrested or called out. I think he was arrested for like sexual images of real children, and he came out and was like, yeah, lolly is one of the things that draws pedophiles in. But anyways, oh no, we don't want that. Let's go back here. So this immediately, like when this happens, Chibi Reviews has to jump in and protect his people. Bro, if I can jump into the stream regarding this, because I'm disagreeing with you a lot here. Yeah, come on in. We can argue it. We can argue it. Get into the waiting room. The waiting room, Simon. Oh. But anyway, while we're waiting on him to come in, I want to see what I'll hold off reading this for a minute so Simon can come in and give his piece. I'm an old school guy. Like, your urges are absolutely based off of that. And like I said, does it mean you're going to go rape a kid? No, it doesn't. But it means you're a pedophile, or have at least the proclivity. When I get home from work, man, yeah. We can get into it from that side, or when you get off work. I always forget you're working while you're going through this. All right, so we'll start off with all the Chibi stuff and go from there. It's all because they want to protect their precious fiction and art. It pisses me off that they get defensive and rabid. Oh yeah, it's a pretty rabid fan base. And they, like I said, very, very close knit. So, Chibi Reviews. I just saw a 1 million follower account that is a pred catcher, quote unquote. Just say lolly equals pedophilia. You'd think someone that is a pred catcher would understand the difference between fiction and reality. And this is always the argument. Like, it's not reality, but it is still the image of a child. I'm sorry. It's still the image of a child sexually, right? It's not a 500, 700-year-old dragon, whatever the fuck you want to say. It's the image of a child, fiction or not. Is it CSAM or like child exploited material? No, because there's not a real child involved. That does not make it not a drawn image of a child that is sexually being done. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. The dangers of watered down terms. Here's the thing. Here's the thing when he says the watered down terms. Hold on. When you're talking about something as a pedophile, and obviously, pedophile is just one word. We can get into the semantics of what pedophile means versus everything else, but it is sexual attraction to children, right? You cannot tell me, I do not believe for 1 second that someone who is jerking off to drawn pictures of kids doesn't have a sexual attraction to children. Most normies and people will find it weird and problematic. That's okay. It's their belief. Yeah. One cannot. So, like I said, you don't need to wood chipper all these people. I'm not going to go that far, but I'm sorry. You like sexual images of children, right? And that's just the way it is. The dangers of watering down terms and comparing real victims to drawings isn't good. He didn't say anything about victims though. He just says it's sexual images of animated children, right? He's calling people. He's not saying that they should go to jail. He's not saying that they've raped children. He's saying that they're a predator, right? Maybe you could say he should have just said pedophile. Uh, but I don't know. I wouldn't trust someone who indulged in lolly to babysit my kids, right? And I think that's where that line comes. It only shifts police resources to focus on false calls and stall Jesus Christ. And stall them from investigating an actual criminal hurting people. No, it doesn't. Just because he says this does not mean that the cops are going to shift their things away from stuff that is not illegal. They may watch the person. They may, see if that person does break the law, right, by engaging with hopefully a fake minor, but it's not going to change the way the people, the cops do their work. It's not going to change anything. It's just one more person on their list to watch. I agree. Life is more different when you're a parent and have kids. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Schlepp should be ashamed of himself for comparing the two. Uh, if you find lolly weird, I don't find lolly weird. I find it disgusting. By all means, that is fine. However, comparing it to real living, breathing humans that has been harmed is disrespectful. He's not comparing it to live. He's not even talking about the victims, Chibi. He's talking about your proclivity to jerk off to children. That's it. That's what he's talking about. And that he thinks you're a predator for that. Because eventually you may make that choice in line. Like the problem is we really have no data on any of this, on whether, what the actual rate of people who are watching Lolicon and actually watching CSAM material, right? It's probably something we will never have the rates on. If we lose and other people's logic, I'm twisting his name. Basically, if you play GTA, that means you're a murderer. Yeah, like these two are not even in comparison to what's going on, right? You're not. I'm sorry. There's a big difference between sexually pleasing yourself to a child and playing a video game where you yeah, you did call it 100%, to where you go and steal cars and break the law. They are not at all the same thing. Yes, Nasmir, you were right. You were right. Basically, if you play GTA, I mean, this is one of the things that they try and compare it to, because there are studies that people don't commit crimes because they played a video game. That is not the same thing as sexual gratification, right? You're not you're not getting into a deep emotion. You're not getting into things that tend to be more addicting, right? Like I get addicted to video games, but I don't get addicted to the idea of murder in a video game or anything like that. I'm just addicted to getting the dopamine hits off of video games. When you're watching porn and other things like that, you're still deeply addicted to sex, right? Straight porn or whatever. And you can become addicted to porn. It does happen. Uh but it's just not the same thing. Good old Chibi reviews. So that's the initial statements, right? Of course, it got community noted because, they come out in droves. You don't get to speak on the behalf of victims while using your platform to defend content that recreates the abuse of children. True. I can tell you, like, a lot of times, like, there's a lot of content that was online when I was younger that even porn companies aren't putting on anymore, right? Like rape content. You don't find it easily on normal porn sites anymore. You don't find um, drunk girls online is anymore. At least you don't find a lot of these ones that are mimicking and sometimes even committing criminal acts. Um, Even though like a say a rape porn is usually faked, right? Now you'll find in like the uh BDSM and stuff like that, but it doesn't go into like the full stories and things like that. I don't watch BDSM honestly. So the case study I use every time is One Punch Man versus John. Hey Kaz, what's going on? John Venables. OPM drew violent fights for entertainment. John Venables drew violent images as a substitute for his thoughts. Venables went on to, I'm guessing, commit a horrible act, right? Yeah. I see what you're saying there. Yeah, saying Chibi duck a debate is funny. I mean, it doesn't surprise me, right? If you believe so, I hate like if he believes so vividly in this, he should at least get on and talk about it, right? Instead of these back and forths on X. I get it. Not everybody is a debate bro. You don't have to do the pedophile debate, stuff. But you can have an honest conversation about that, right? Plus his content, even if he gets smacked around. The difference is night and day, but those mug fiction dumbasses refuse to acknowledge something that is self-evident. Right, right. Yeah, pretty much what you're saying is I don't go to GTA because I want to kill people. It's not a medium for my thoughts, like you said, where art and things like porn are a medium for your thoughts. You're going to watch porn because you are having sexual thoughts you need to gratify yourself, right? Or you're addicted to those sexual thoughts you need to gratify it. I hate debate broke culture because it is usually just with too much time on their hands and and hate being wrong. Also, a lot of debate bros can be really biased. Oh yeah, I mean, in any situation like that, whether it's like a full on debate bro, excuse me, or just two guys talking, there's going to be bias for one side or the other. And you're right, most people can't take that separation from your beliefs to actually have your mind changed. So I don't think anybody's mind would get changed, especially Chivi's. But it would be fun to watch. Oh, denying a debate, bro, leads to them crashing out in funny ways. That's right. You don't get to speak on behalf of victims. You are the problem who is actively normalizing this behavior to thousands. Fuck it. I'm making a lolly defense video today. Already been canceled, had thousands of death threats. Of course. It's not Chibi Reviews if he doesn't say that he's had death threats, right? This guy's the biggest vagina online. Just shut up. People get fucking death threats. You know what'll stop the death threats? Stop talking about the fucking death threats, right? Because these weirdos and retards will keep sending them. They want you to answer. They want you to say, hey, uh, you know, hey, look, someone so sent me a death threat. They want to see their death threat up on X. Homie falling on the sword with the death threats. Yeah, absolutely. False accusations and have nothing to lose. And I will stop speaking up for the freedom of expression within art. And I have nothing to lose, and I will not stop speaking up for the. And this is the thing they go by too. Like, it's it's freedom of expression. For what he's really trying to do is freedom of speech, right? That's what art would fall under and things like that. But I hate to tell you, like when it comes to child sex material, the Supreme Court's ruled that is absolutely not protected under the First Amendment. Now, we're talking about actual child sexual material. I don't think it's ever been litigated all the way up to the Supreme Court on if that would be considered freedom of speech. In my personal thing, it wouldn't. You can also talk about like porn only has some protections under freedom of speech. It is very much a controlled thing. Like they have one different things in the porn industry to protect the women who are involved in it, to protect the people working with it and stuff like that. A lot of it has to do with where that stuff is sold and things like that. Like if it's in an area that most people would find uh, offensive, I forget what the message is called or what the wording is. Then yes, it can be considered not freedom of speech. I can't go out into public and fuck somebody on camera and call that freedom of speech, right? There's laws around that. That doesn't fall under it. Chibi is that kind of lawbert, yeah. Drawing lewds of actual children's characters is pretty creepy. I agree, absolutely. Especially being a father. I've 3 kids. And that shit to me is just disgusting that there are people doing it online, right? Uh, like I said, I'm not a full on wood chipper guy. I'll go wood chipper online, right, and play a little bit on there. If you haven't committed a crime, I don't think you should uh be arrested, right? I think you should go seek help um for it, right? It's a mental disorder. It's a mental issue that you're running with. Um but it doesn't change what it is. Now it's one thing that if it's just a short woman, yeah, short stack goblin, is that what we're talking about? The difference is actually like away from Spy and Family. Yeah, I'm not a wood chipper guy, you woke liberal. listen, listen, I can get wood chippery very much so, especially if they've committed the crime. But I also understand certain things. So, like, there's states right now in the United States that are passing um, death penalty laws for pedophiles, right? If you get caught doing pedophile stuff, you can um, get the death penalty for it. I actually have a problem with that. And it's because people aren't thinking of the ramifications of what happens. There was, I want to say back in the 80s, they were wanting to pass laws to give the death penalty to rapists. And the argument that kept that from going through was if you give people the death penalty for something and it's not murder, then what, like, all right, with a rapist, what reason is there for the rapist to keep their victim alive if they're going to get the death penalty anyway, right? That just cuts out one person that can tell on them. Where someone who might not get the death penalty for it may not think that way. I mean, obviously they're not thinking when they commit the crime to begin with, but you can run into a scenario where more victims are getting murdered versus just the initial crime. Not that the crime should happen, it absolutely shouldn't, but there is a problem with making certain laws extreme, especially even like rape. I don't think the laws are strong enough. I don't think the sentences are strong enough, long enough, but uh, that doesn't mean you should use the death penalty for that. And I'm fairly pro death penalty in a lot of ways. Judas cradled 2 to 3 years and forgot. Even in My Little Pony, I didn't like how people would ship the young kids and characters. Yeah, that shit is so weird. I mean, it's weird anyway, like the brony and all of that community. Uh, but yeah, it's even worse when it's the kids. Expecting right-wing states to protect people from drawing lewds of minors is not knowing the GOP. Well, the problem is the people we're ruled by engage in more than just some of this stuff. So yeah, he came out and said, "Hey, I'm going to make a lolly defense video." Uh, and then here's Slip, hey Chibi, you should cancel Google next. And it just says that it could be illegal. Child sex abuse content is illegal and harmful. Seeking sexually explicit images of children can have serious consequences for yourself and others. If you are worried about viewing sexual images of children or are experiencing urges to do so, you can access anonymous confidential help. Right. The problem is this is like AI, right? And I agree, it's harmful content. But from a legal standpoint, it is talking about actual sexual material, right? So, anyways, with that, we're going to get to the video. So, Chibi Reviews is going to cops have a shaky record of protecting. Cops are not there to protect you, but Kaz, they're not there to protect you at all. Cops are there to zip up the body bags. That's what they do. Cops also are looking to arrest people. They don't go around and do community stuff anymore or anything like that. If a cop pulls you over, he is looking to either write you a ticket or find a reason to arrest you. Now, that doesn't mean you should be anti shut down the cops thing. That's bullshit. There are a lot of really great cops out there. I'm friends with a lot of good cops. I know a lot of cops in the area from my military service in the Guard. I said in the Guard, your civilian job is usually either two things, cop or criminal. Oh, juicy. What is this? I remember a long time ago, DeviantArt, there was this freak called Solid Mario that was obsessed with Bart Simpson. Jesus. Blackbuster Critic made a video on him. That might be interesting to look into on the pass on one of the days that I don't have anything pressing to look at. I'm not shut down the cops guy, but we need mega reform of it. We need, yeah. We need, the problem is every department runs itself differently. And in fact, a lot of the smaller departments tend to be the worst ones, like in boondock towns where everyone knows each other. There's things that don't need to happen, like cops who get fired for things like misconduct and stuff like that should not immediately be able to go over one county and get hired as a cop. They should be basically not allowed to be a police officer ever again, right? If you're a nurse or especially if you're a doctor and you do something like that, you will lose your license to practice. Cultural issues, bias, and racial profiling. Yeah. But let's get back on subject. We can talk about bad cops more and more. Let's see what Chibi Review's arguments are for lolicons. No, you're good. I like Kaz. I like going off on tangents, and I like getting off topic. I'm ADHD. It's gonna happen. I stopped watching anime to see this. Awesome.
I'm going to catch a lot of heat for this video and probably receive hundreds of thousands of death threats for even making a video discussing.
Jesus Christ, this guy is the biggest pussy I've ever seen. How long is this video? He only does like really short videos. Even with people like Smash only does like 15-minute clips or videos. It's like they're stuck in the past where that's what you had to do for the peak viewership / money, whatever it is. But that doesn't seem to be the case anymore with YouTubers and streamers. It just seems like you can go do other things. Okay, I can handle 10 minutes of this dude's annoying voice. Let's go.
I'm going to catch a lot of heat for this video and probably receive hundreds of thousands of death threats for even making a video discussing lollies and even trying to defend lollies, but we're going to get right into it because I've already faced death threats, I've already faced slander, false accusations, people doxing me, sending me stuff in the mail, all sorts of horrific stuff from my...
So you're a Chibi hater now. I see. It makes sense. Longtime fan of this guy, to be exact. Really? Well, so it seems like from what I read of his history, like a lot of people said he had shitty reviews. But it seems like he garnered a pretty decent audience before everything went south. Boo-hoo, welcome to the internet. That's right. If you get a death threat, you know what you should do? Just fucking ignore it. One thing he can do, which he should do, is make it so that people can't send him messages on fucking X. Just not every shitter on X needs to be able to send you a message, right? That would prevent a shit ton of them. I knew him before the grift. Yeah, I could see where that could stuff. Death frets. Are they going to remove his eardrum? Good old Chibi. Good old Chibi. It was one anime that made him go insane in a way. Oh, really? We may have to talk about that a little bit. I've looked into his history and things like that. So I did a whole video on him. Or a whole stream on him a while back. I think I clipped it up into a video. But he's just a character.
Stances on fictional content. So, you know what? Screw it. I'm not gonna bow down and bend the knee.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and predict it. I'm gonna do a Nazmir. This is just gonna be on the it's fiction, it's fiction, it's fiction. It's not illegal, it's not illegal, it's not illegal. But none of the actual stuff around the idea of sexualizing a child is going to be brought up, right?
I'm going to just straight up get into what needs to be said. And so this is a post that crossed my feed today by Real Slop. Now, you might not know who this is, but there is a very high chance you do. This individual is someone that is very well known for being a pred catcher. They are someone that makes their entire channel around catching predators on Roblox and different forms of the internet, as you can see here, and they have 2.4 million followers. So this is a pretty large channel that gets very decent views, as you can see here, 7.7 million views, 8 million views. Obviously, they are very successful as a content creator. Someone that is
money. Welcome to the stream. We are getting into this Chibi reviews video. He is not happy with Slop the Predator Hunter.
Way beyond my success. I am just a drop in the bucket in comparison to this individual that is making YouTube content. However, what really shocks me is that an individual that has their entire career based around being a predator catcher is someone that cannot separate fiction from reality. That is what really blew me away.
So what you're saying is you can't understand why the guy who catches people who abuse children wouldn't like pictures of children being sexualized. That's you're confused by that, Chibi? Really?
When I saw this post today, and the amount of damage that this post and this individual is going to cause to actual real people and victims out there, and allow criminals to actually get away. He also responded,
how is it going to let criminals get away? They're still going to catch predators, right? I have a problem with predator hunters online anyway, to begin with. I haven't looked into Slop's content outside of what was happening with the Roblox thing. It seems like he was a little bit more legit, but like 99% of these predator hunters are only doing it for views. And usually the predator gets away with it. Even if you go back to fucking Chris Hansen's days, a lot of them got away with it because of how he performed his predator hunting stuff, even with working with police forces. It's fucking like these guys do not help catch predators, right?
On me twice before I even uploaded this video, and instead of even countering the points I made, he decided to go straight into slandering me, bringing up my personal life that's completely irrelevant to the topic at hand, and basically shifting the subject matter away from the topic to kind of muddy the waters, and basically try to make my...
He's not muddying the waters, he's fucking making fun of you, right? You can say that he's not engaging with your argument, sure, I could agree with that, but I'm pretty sure he did talk about it in the original one, right? Yeah. He answered. He's like, he doesn't like you speaking on the behalf of victims while your platform engages in lolicon, right? So he did. Did you come back in? Oh shit! Oh shit! Fucking savvy. Savvy jump scare. I didn't think she got involved in this. Oh, let's fucking go. Schlep. I am a victim of domestic abuse. Don't fucking care. That's like, it's horrible. I'll say that. It's horrible that that happened to you. Don't come in here using that to try and shut him the fuck up. Make your points and get on with it. I have been hit before. And are you going to attempt to use my pain to get violence and media banned too? Oh, Jesus. Or are you going to grow up and realize fiction and reality are different? On top of that, psychologists actually support dark fiction as a means of exploring trauma and helping people get. Oh, that's not the same thing as sexualizing a minor, you fucking dumb bitch. There is, yes, dark fucking fiction can be a way to do that because you are reading about your experiences, right? You are absolutely reading about the things that make you your triggers or things like that. That's what they want you to look at. What trigger is it you jerking off to lolicon? What trigger is that? How is that proving anything? Again, I go back to the argument. I watch porn sometimes, right? I'm married and have a wife. Watching porn doesn't not make me, it doesn't make me want to not fuck my wife. When you think Goblin Slayer is basically about lolicon when it isn't, right? I've heard about that, never watched it. But I know of the scene. So yes, I could see that being dark fiction, right? You brought up something important, very important in Roblox and helped with the global conversation. But when nothing came of it, I can see you pivoting. What? What? Hold on. Hold on. Hold the fuck on. Hold the fuck on. His last video made 7.7 million. Why would he need to fucking pivot? Are you fucking joking? This dude's making bank off of this. Why would he need a 7.7, 8.6, 5.3, 4.9, 9 million? Savvy is an utter fucking moron. I see she didn't win greatest journalist this year. That category didn't even exist. Schlepp and his circle are incredibly successful. Yeah, predator hunting is incredibly lucrative because people want to see these evil people go down, right? Ugh, Jesus fucking Christ. So yeah, where is she? I'm reading the rest of this shit. You brought up something easy ban. I can see you pivoting now to chasing fiction since it is an easy ban versus taking on Roblox, which is being protected by governments and other businesses. He's still doing it. He legit got 6 people arrested. So yeah, I'm glad that he got 6 people arrested. I mean, it proves that he's doing that content. I still have a problem with what people like him do because arrested doesn't equal convicted. But yeah, he's still doing Roblox content. He just made a statement about, well, like, dude, savvy, 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 savvy. I don't think you have anywhere to fucking talk. 13K, 4.6K, 3.7K. You're not in any form going to tell him what he needs to do or what he is doing as a pivot when he's still making the same content and making millions. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, of course Savvy came into it though. We all hate that too because the platform enables real abuse and real victims, right? Oh, back to it. Remember, theoretically, Savvy's husband posts on her account. True. So maybe it's not Savvy, but it's her husband that likes Lolicon. Very interesting. I'm convinced she only drama posts to make money as her YouTube isn't doing shit. Yeah, probably. But even then, does her X account do well? Where is that? Oh, she's already. Here we go. I mean, 1.5K likes. She get, probably a couple $100. I don't know. It doesn't pay very well. Oh yeah. You talking about? Hold on. Where did he go? There he is. Good old Rob's Media. Rob's Media is part of the commentary community. He mostly makes videos on people that have interesting things that come up. No way 1.5 likes gets you $100. Well, okay, that's probably true. I don't know how much it pays out. I know it isn't fucking a lot. Well, when I say $100, I mean like for the month from all of her posts, which isn't shit. Like YouTube doesn't, or X does not pay content creators well enough unless you're in the 0.01%, right? Oh, all right, Chibi. All right, let's get back to Chibi.
My points seem kind of invalid when he's not even addressing my points to begin with. So I think more or less
we've already gotten over that. He did address your points, or well, he did address that it's still sexual abuse on another one, but you're showing these ones because he's making fun of the cuck you are.
Case is closed, that this man right here actually doesn't care about victims and people. He's more or less just wanting brownie points, making a profit off of people, and that's about it. So this is pretty, it says a lot about his character, honestly, just seeing these type of posts from him. And so let's just get right
You can't make fun of me, otherwise you're just disingenuous.
Into this. So first off, let's address the elephant in the room, which is what Slop is talking about. He's talking about how lollies are basically, if you like lollies, you defend lollies, you're a PDF. That's what he is pretty much saying in this post. And what
it's right in front of you. That's exactly what he said.
What's very interesting about this post, by the way, with him trying to compare the two of fictional content that's a drawing on a piece of paper or an animated pixel, he actually edited his post here, which Packer Girl showcases a screenshot, and I'll showcase this as legit in a second, but basically you can see his original post here, he actually has anime in front of it, showcasing what he's actually talking about. Then he quickly edited his post to remove it to make it seem more extreme than it actually is, and I don't
No, come on, Chibi. Yes, he probably thought of it as anime, but all drawings of children in sexual ways is is bad, is wrong. Now, Lolicon generally goes around, you think of anime and stuff like that, sure. Pat Girl is also another moron who's worth laughing at. Nice. Some of these people I need to get into. Maybe I need to jump into the Chibi area because he always seems to be pretty entertaining.
I don't think I need to really explain why this is bad, but it obviously is very disingenuous in trying to basically make a molehill into a mountain, or trying to make something look worse than it actually is. Pretty much saying that, basically, nobody would care if it was a drawing, but the fact that he removed that wording of anime from it, it makes people tune in more to what he's saying and believe what he's saying is actually...
Dude, he's yapping a lot about one word getting taken out when everybody knows that Lolicon generally is thought of in the anime communities. I'm sure it can apply to other things, but that's the first thing most people think of.
Talking about real victims and real people that are actually getting harmed. And to showcase that this tweet actually has been edited, by the way, here it is, the actual post here, as you can see, getting community noted, by the way. And if you go here to last edit, you click on this right here, you will see his original post at the bottom here. This is a legitimate post he made that he edited out anime. He changed nothing else with it, but
she grifts, but she legit struggles to pay her bills on time. Oh, that's good shit.
Besides removing anime from the actual wording to basically make the post look way worse than it actually is. So this is actually insane. And this gets into the topic of what I just talked about, that it's really horrible that someone that dedicates their entire career and like presence online to actually go after criminals would actually compare a drawing to
I guarantee you, every pred hunter on is it a pending community note? Homie doesn't know how community notes work. I mean, it's Chibi. We'll go with that. So, like, I doubt you can go to a predator hunter and that they'll tell you that Lolly is just fictional and okay, right?
actually real victims. That's what's so disrespectful. And let me explain why this is a problem. So, first off,
Nice.
you are
It
a
doesn't
police
have a community
officer
note.
and
So he's already being he's either being disingenuous or he's fucking stupid. The problem is it's a 50 on 50 on which one it is.
know, the office at the county sheriff office or whatever, and you only have a certain amount of officers. Let's say there's 30 or 50 officers within the police office. You receive a call that apparently someone is harming someone, and you take this call, you take it very seriously because it's your job. So you go and investigate, and when you go and investigate whatever's going on, you come to find out it's actually just a drawing. It's a pixel on the screen. It's nothing. There's no
Who calls the police and says that a child is being harmed? Fucking no one. Someone may send something into the police and say, hey, this guy has sexual images of kids, maybe, or sexual image drawings of kids. I guarantee you, though, if I went to the police and said, hey, there's this dude who I saw with sexual drawings of lolicon and things like that, they're still going to check him out. They're still going to put him on their list. They're still going to do everything that's needed to make sure he is not harming kids. These cases are very rarely investigated to begin with because they get police departments are overwhelmed with everything that happens. There are predator like groups in there, but that's they can only do so much, right? They're usually very small investigation groups, one or two guys. Even in probably big cities, there may be more. But again, it's online, so unless you know the person in person, there's not going to be much that they can investigate. Maybe if it's a Discord, they may investigate it to see if they can get the Discord shut down or, pass it on to the FBI for those kind of things. But I've been inside a police department. I've seen like the area where one city police department in my area had their pred department, and it was like very small, like two computers, two guys trying to do every investigation that gets called up.
nobody being hurt, no victims, nothing. It is just
And here's the thing too, people love to call in false pedophile reports on people to try and get custody of their kids or anything else that happens. So they have to go through false reports anyway.
just entirely a drawing on the screen. And I don't think I really need to outline why this is a problem, but all this does is
You do, Chibi. You need to outline why it's a problem because so far your shit's pretty weak.
it stalls police from being able to actually catch real criminals and help victims be able to recover. It really just actually overloads the system, and it causes a limited amount of resources to be used for false calls. That's pretty much what happens in this case. But
Here's the thing, it might not be a false call. We really don't know. All right, this guy likes to jerk off to children. You know who else likes to jerk off to children? Predators that have sex with children, right? That rape children. So yeah, I think a person like that should be investigated. Is there more on their hard drive that isn't just Lolly?
people that can't separate fiction from reality. And so the fact that you have someone like Slop that his entire career is to try to bring people to justice, willing to water down a term and actually cause it to be harder to catch real PDFs is actually
I would like to know Schlepp's, like, how many times that Schlepp has gone and done a predator hunt and Lolly has been involved in some way, shape, or form, right? Whether he's pretending to be a kid and they send Lolly to the guy or some form. I know, who's the other Predator hunter that got kicked off for DSP? Because he's on Rumble now. He's ran into guys. I've seen stuff that's ran into guys who he's caught, breaking the law, and they've had lolicon, right? They've even admitted that lolicon is something that they actively enjoy. The problem with his argument is that he has caught real PDFs already. Yeah, he's already that. When does that actually happen? Is my question. I would like examples of this. Yeah, I agree. Like, what examples are there that the cops are wasting their resources on this?
Insane to me. Now, I do want to talk
All right, brother, let me know.
about something that does need to be acknowledged, and that is lolly in general. Now, look, I'm just gonna outright say it. If you find lollies and stuff weird, completely fine. I think there is nothing wrong with someone thinking it's weird, bizarre, whatever. You don't want to associate with people like that. Fine. That's completely fine. It's well within your right to do that. However, you cross a line when you start calling people accusations that aren't true. For instance, you calling them a PDF, or you start comparing a drawing or a pixel to an actual living, breathing human. There is a very hard.
So you're not comparing the picture to a child. You're saying that the person who is jerking off to it likes to jerk off to kids, right? You can you can say all the other shit you want, but they're not saying that the picture is the same as the kid, right? They're saying that you like to jerk off to kids, animated. I'll be free to give some context behind this Chibi crash out. If you want to, hey, jump in the waiting room. We can talk about it.
Line there that is crossed when someone does that. And all it does is water things down and makes the entire conversation very muddy, to where now when you have a conversation around stuff like this, like if someone's a PDF or not, what it comes down to is like, are they talking about a real person or are they talking about a drawing? And when you have some
No, but it still doesn't change the fact that a pedophile is someone who jerks off to kids or wants to have sex with kids, right? Doesn't matter if it's an image or if it's, the real thing. You still are sexually attracted. I should have said it this way. You are sexually attracted to children. That is what it is.
something like this brought up into a conversation.
They claim people can separate fantasy from reality, but eventually they act out their fantasies and someone real does get hurt. It's probably not in every case. I'm sure there's cases of people who are full out pedophiles, right? And have never harmed someone. They take whatever measures they need. They see a therapist. They stay away from kids, right? That probably does exist. But yes, the point is that there is a possibility that you could want to act it out with a real person.
Conversation, it's already bad, and it's happening. It is something that has definitely grown exponentially in the last 5 to 6 years, to where the conversation around this entire topic has been muddied and just tampered with, to the point to where people don't take it as seriously anymore, because people cannot separate fiction from reality. And
I would like Chibi to go out in public with a picture of a lolicon, like like Bruce Willis, a board with a picture of a lolicon on it that says, "I like to jerk off to this. Am I a pedophile?" And see how many people call him a pedophile. You don't even probably need to put that part of, "Am I a pedophile?" right? People are going to call you one. The vast majority of normal people, the vast majority of people, I'll say, do think that this would be considered pedophilia.
all they have done is actually help criminals get away with stuff. And in
Show me what criminals have gotten away with it because someone called somebody about sexual images of a child. This is completely made up bullshit on his part. There is no proof that that's ever happened. He's just trying to use this as a fucking argument to say, oh, we're wasting resources, but you have no proof that these resources are being wasted. You're just making shit up to defend your sexual fantasy.
In fact, most of the time when people are this adamant about lolly content that are basically saying it is the equivalent of actual real people.
I would love watching and reading is classic shonen, Shini, and shoujo series. Are those animes or mangas? I love watching or I don't know. See, here's the thing with me. Like I was into anime when I was younger, even on a very kind of normie sense. And there's sometimes that I will partake in an anime that interests me. But it's very rare, and I'm definitely not into the anime community anymore.
Most of the time, from what I have seen, they turn out to be some form of like a problem or a criminal themselves, or they have.
Oh, he wanted to say it. He wanted to say it. Just say it, Chibi. Say it. You think people who say that lolicon is bad are pedophiles. That's what you want to say, are pedophiles. That's what you want to say.
Skeletons in the closet. Something is going on there. And I feel like it's absolutely insane. Like,
this is also bullshit. He's trying to make a wide, sweeping statement without any proof that there is anything that Slop has done illegal, right? You can, this is the same thing as going up to somebody who hasn't shown any lolly, hasn't, been caught with any CSAM, hasn't done anything, and calling them a pedophile. That's what you're doing right now, is you're saying he's probably a criminal because he says this thing.
This is really, I feel like Slop should be really ashamed of himself for even making a post like this. Once again, if he wanted to call lollies and stuff weird, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. That is completely fine. But to go this far, and then even to change his actual message to remove anime from it because he knows people don't take that seriously because it's not real, because it's not something.
See, he's making this shit up where like people don't take that seriously if it's a picture. No, most people do. The lolicons come out and force to go against it, but most people don't just think it's weird. They think that you have an attraction to children.
To take seriously, that's just insane. And once again, you know what this makes me look at? His entire channel? It makes me look at, it's not about actually bringing justice to people to catch actual criminals. It's about making a profit and making money off of it.
EDP445 has called out lolicons before. Has Chibi used even that talking point yet? No, he hasn't actually brought that one up.
And look, yeah, how can you not view it like that? Like, this person clearly doesn't potentially care about children if he's willing to water down terms to this degree. That's what it looks like. It's not a good look. It's not. And
what's going on, SA? It's not a good look to who? Kiwi font. Oh, sorry, not gonna say it on stream. We'll keep that off of stream because I don't like promoting what'll probably happen in that situation. But but yeah, I thought that might happen. Shojin would be your Dragon Balls, Naruto, One Piece. Oh, okay, yeah. I used to watch. I never got into Naruto, though I did at one point later on, like in my 30s, watch it. Dragon Ball, I was a big fan of. My sister watched Sailor Moon. See, my sister was much bigger into anime, and that's where I watched a lot of my animes. She would even read mangas. She would have stuff, and I would go from there. But this is like, you're talking like this is just something that all normal people think, and that's not the case. You and your little degenerate community think this, right? There are people that, like Simon's going to get on here and argue with me over some of these tosses that are somewhere in the middle. Is it lagging? Really? Did I miss anything of the video? No. Oh, well, so far he's trying to make the argument that normal people don't think anime is or lolicon is weird. Uh, what else was it that it's the same stuff. He's just kind of repeating himself.
I feel like this is just such a shameful thing to do. I cannot believe he actually did this. Now, with that being said,
It's such a shameful thing to do. He's using like all of this very hardcore language, like what he did is like around the same thing as murder or even pedophilia himself. He did go in, Kaz, and say that people who say that lolicon is bad tend to be criminals themselves, with no real evidence that Schlepp has done anything criminal whatsoever.
I will say,
A lot of painting him as this horrible person for doing this, but not a lot of proving him wrong in any way.
I will always have the stance to protect fictional content. I have been very adamant about this for.
Yeah, I know about EDP 445. These are the same talking points from years ago. Well, that's the same talking points always. Same talking points as Rev says Desu. Yeah, absolutely. And this is kind of the things that they repeat over and over again, and people get tired of arguing with them, and they're like, see, anime is completely, or people are completely normal with it. I don't think some anime fans don't realize how weird they come off to normies. Yeah, absolutely.
For a very long time, and no amount of death threats, doxings, people trying to scare me off the internet, slandering my name, false
God,
accusations.
Here's the victimhood. Chibi is the perpetual victim online, and it's fucking annoying as hell.
Whatever, nothing along that lines is going to make me stop talking about what I believe in and how people have a right to express themselves in art and also within literature. And basically, if people are going this hard after, let's say, lolly content, why aren't they going hard after Game of Thrones? There's some very crazy stuff within Game of Thrones' book.
Are you fucking kidding me? There are, movies that have come out with like the child stuff. But what in Game of Thrones is he really speaking of? There's incest. Was maybe, I mean, some of the characters in the book I think are underage, but we're talking about like medieval times kind of thing, so that may have brought it up. But yeah, this is a terrible comparison. I only have one friend IRL who is as big an anime fan as myself. People like Chibi, Rev, Flash give us secondhand embarrassment. Yeah. He's just made a whataboutism. Yeah. What about Game of Thrones? Doesn't really solve anything because maybe Game of Thrones ought to be removed too. You could see that. I mean, if you want to argue that there's CSAM in Game of Thrones, then pull those scenes out and argue it, right? There's a reason that we have anime cringe compilations. Lolita is a real fucking creepy one, right? That one. The book of Lolita. I haven't seen anything on the book. I haven't watched the movie, but it's an interesting rabbit hole to go down.
Books, by the way, that have actual characters that are technically not 18 plus within it. But for some reason, that is completely fine because you want to know why? It's popular. It's a big series. People accept it.
No, not really. So there's this thing where the movie industry has done this for years, where they put teenage characters in a show and then they have 30-year-olds play them. It's more like 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds, and things like that. And in those, there's, while not full-on sex scenes, there's a lot of insinuation of sex. People like naked in bed but covered up, things like that. That is something that's happened in the movie industry for as long as the movie industry has been around, pretty much. But it's still not the same thing as jerking off to a child. Like you're trying to make it like this is TV when this is porn we're talking about, right? You should compare it to porn. Uh, yeah, if it's used to tell a story you can understand, right? And as long as it doesn't show the acts, right? Uh, you can argue that it happened, right? So Sansa at a young age married whoever, and that she was underage when it happened, so they had sex. There may have even been a scene around insinuating it, but there's a difference between the drawn porn of children and what's happening on a TV show, right?
But obviously now with anime reaching a new norm and people kind of encountering anime for the first time, and the main go-to voice now is to say anything that isn't mainstream shonen, like for
Is anime reaching a new norm? Like I mean, this is just me personally in the spaces I'm in, but I don't see uh a ton of anime. There are well, no, the VTubers are becoming really normal. See them at things like baseball games and shit like that. Uh but like not most normal people I don't think are incredibly into anime. There are things like you've seen Demon Slayer actually have movies go into theater and stuff like that. So sure, but I don't know. Very few anime tackle pedophilia as a subject. Yeah, and it's more of fan service than as a subject.
for instance, Chainsaw Man or JJK, everything's icky or weird and needs to be gone, censored,
It's
and it's
still a
problematic.
whataboutism.
We can see this.
Drugs
There's a
are
big
a
shift.
norm
And
too.
it just, there's a lot of hypocrisy.
Yes.
There's a lot
Thank
of
you, Egad. That is a very good point.
people only playing one side and not understanding, and they're picking and choosing what's a problem or not because they just don't like it. And at the end of the day, they don't really care about actual victims or people getting harmed. They're all in it for a profit or being able to make brownie points and clout and everything about that. That's basically what they're doing. And
I became an anime fan with Attack on Titans back in 2016. I decided to check it out primarily because of the build the wall memes, the election cycle, and it's your favorite series now. Yeah, I can see that. Like I can see with the growth of the internet that more people get their eyes on anime, more anime people talk together. Naruto Night at Milwaukee Brewer Games. Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I'm just gonna say it like it is, guys. I would make a lot more money and I would have a lot more sponsorships if I straight up just said lolly is bad. I would. I'm just gonna
So it's normal, like it's more normalized and people don't care about it, but sponsors don't want to touch it. I wonder why.
be blunt. I would make so much more money and I would be less
Chibi wouldn't want that smoke from anybody because it would completely start falling apart.
like I would be deemed less problematic to work with or anyone to talk with me if I just straight up went against it. But I won't, because I'm willing to separate and I see the difference between fiction and reality. I know there's a big difference, and trying to say they're the same hurts real people, and I feel like that is so.
And here's the thing, like he's really not saying like me saying that you jerking off to sexual images of children is pedophilia is not, hold on, I lost my train of thought there, is not us not separating. He was talking about the fiction. It doesn't mean I don't understand the difference between the fiction and what's actually happening. I do that a lot, Kaz. Get used to it. My short-term memory is fucking shit, which means it takes a lot for something to get back there into that long-term memory. Oh, but yeah, he's not. They understand the difference. Like one is the abuse of children, and one is a drawing of it. Right? You're not abusing a child when you jerk off to lolly, but you still are sexually attracted to a child. Rev was an obnoxious locale and didn't make being a gooner his whole personality, even though the guy is a massive joke. Yeah, I think. I may have to talk to Simon about that, but I would probably take Rev over Chibi any day.
I'm willing to separate, and I see the difference between fiction and reality. I know there's a big difference, and trying to say they're the same hurts real people, and I feel like that is so horrible to do to people.
Yeah, I mean this is just a lie. That's not what they're saying. It's the same. Like you're trying to push it all the way over to say that what they're saying is that you're abusing a child, but that's not what they're saying. They're saying you're sexually attracted to children.
Actual people that have went through stuff. So, long story short, I'm probably gonna get mass hate for this video.
Don't
I
care.
know I'm gonna get mass hate. It is what it is. It's something I said. I could not believe what I actually saw here. But
he's acting like he really is acting like Slop got in there and was like, pedophilia is good and I support it. Like something incredibly insane. This is not an insane take.
Thank you so much for watching. May all of you have a fantastic day or night wherever you live. Be safe, stay healthy.
Yeah, this defense video was very weak. I mean, it's just repeating all the same arguments, right? You can copy paste this argument or this video right back into it in a couple months when someone else says that says lolly is bad, right? I should leave a comment on it, but he'll delete it. Yeah. Schlep. He says a lot of nothing. Yeah. Right. And it's a lot of deflecting to other things. You're stopping the police from doing their job. No, it's not. You have no proof of that. You're just trying to sensationalize the difference so that it doesn't look as bad. He wants attention. I'm going to assume the opposite will happen. Yeah. He just doesn't want his friends that view lolly to have the cops start looking into their hard drives and seeing what's on other things. And again, like was said before, very rarely does this ever get looked at. It gets put into a folder until someone gets to it. Welcome to the modern police. So anyways, that was Chibi Reviews. A lot of these big channels block me after a comment. Star Wars Fury, Doomcock. I don't know who Chrissy Meyer is. Kirsch blocked you? Probably Chibi will too. But not sure. That's funny. I mean, a lot of these guys are not very susceptible to criticism. When it comes to criticism, they tend to fall apart and block and hide and all these other things that happen. Eric's online. Let's see here. Let's go look at. Bro, I can make a more solid argument as to why this shit isn't a problem, since the whole fiction part is only part of the argument. Oh, you're in the waiting room. Come on in. Welcome, Kaz. I think you're muted. Oops. Hello. Opening my.
Hey there.
Hey, there it is.
There.
What's going on, bud?
Nothing much, War. So, all right, second time on here. So, can't spend too much time talking about this as I want to finish this anime, but I have to get you into the nitty gritty. So, pretty much, I've been following this guy, following Chibi since like he was reviewing anime regularly. He will talk about the mangas he's reading. Like the guy was just pretty much strictly all about reviews, zero drama. Dude actually hated responding to drama. The guy actually did his best to stay out of it. The guy really was 100% all about anime, all about talking about what's going on in anime and the good about anime. There are two events that I think happened that really changed him. So the first thing was the Vic Mayana lawsuit, where he sued Funimation as he was fired for sexual misconduct, and Chibi was defending Vic, and he was covering the shit. And what made me actually stop following him was when he made a video comparing Vic Mayana, an actual living, breathing voice actor, to a anime character. And the anime character in question was Naofumi from Rising of the Shield Hero.
Mhm.
A little bit about that show. That is an isekai. And the first arc, he's basically, the main character is actually falsely accused of raping Melty, which is like a major noble in the kingdom they're in. And he is just he's falsely accused. He's treated like shit. No one wants to fuck with him. They think he's scum, and he barely doesn't have anything. And pretty much all of season 1 is just dedicated to him clearing his name and him getting like his big one up over Melty and like pretty much embarrassing her, making her pretty much like a social pariah, and let's just say that season really not only made the show popular, but it also ignited a certain part of the anime fan that doesn't like women.
No.
Yeah, and he pretty much was on that, and that was the first thing. Pretty much when, like, if you didn't know how the Vic case ended, pretty much Vic case got dismissed even after appeals. He lost 3-0 via the appeal board, and he had to pay more money to the people he was suing. He had to pay out more money. He lost he got blown the fuck out. Like, he lost so bad. And that was just due to poor legal counsel, not having the best evidence, and not really having much to really debunk the claims of him being a sex pest. Yeah. He just kind of said, I didn't do it in a very long roundabout way. That's really it.
Okay.
And he's just pretty much like that. That's the first thing that kind of like really made Chibi not only get into, because his channel was doing very well when Right the Shield was airing, and also when he was covering the Vic Mignogna case, his shit was doing numbers. So that's the first instance. But I kind of came back a little bit when a certain other anime aired, Musosho Tenshin Java's Reincarnation. Mm-hmm. Now this anime is popular. It's heading towards its third season. It's a very, very popular show, very, very, very successful light novel. Some consider it the godfather of isekai, as it's seen as like the first one to ever come out, because the light novel came out like in 2010, and this is like and then now just gets to anime. It's getting an anime adaptation. It got an anime adaptation a couple of years ago, with the creator overseeing it and everything like that. But let's jump into why this show. So the main character, Rudy, dies at the age of 32 by getting hit by a truck. He's pretty much a hikikomori or a NEET. Like, the guy's a total fucking loser. He's fat, ugly, nasty. Like, the guy's a total fucking loser. Mm-hmm. So he dies, and he's reborn in another world as a baby, and he gets a chance to restart his life. But he has the advantage of now of having the mind of a 33-year-old. So while he's a baby, he has the mind of an adult, so he's able to take advantage and really get ahead further than what a kid would usually do. So the problem is that when you start to learn about Rudy's past life and some of his past horrific actions, you learn that Rudy kind of died alone. He was single. He never had a girlfriend. And he's a fucking creep. As he kind of, let's just go to some of his greatest hits. He voluntarily touches another woman's ass, just as him being curious, and he plays it off as tricking this woman into like just touching her ass, and he's like fucking like barely 10 years old at the time. There's another instance where he's kind of let's just say he gets very handsy with his mom at one point. As a baby, as he's like, oh, I get to feel women's boobies actually, and I think if I remember correctly, there's also an instance where he actually, with his master, he actually gets her underwear and uses like a little bit of altar and shrine to pray to her. So you're like, okay. So yeah, the character is still into very degenerate shit and kind of. If I remember correctly, he also sexually assaults two female characters at one point. So like this kid. So I'm gonna stop going through his greatest hits because there's more I can go over. I'm gonna stop for a second. I'm gonna stop. So why do I bring up all this stuff? Well, this anime also became very popular with that same audience. And the Musosho Tenshin fan base has a legion of defenders that defend the main characters every fucking action, no matter how you point out, hey, fucking his cousin's kind of fucking creepy. Maybe he shouldn't have done that. Well, they're second cousins, so it's fine. fine. Oh well, he was young. It was fun. Like, they make excuses for everything. And Chibi was pretty much part of that, where he would defend every action and pretty much go out of his way to attack people who didn't like the show and were criticizing the main character. And I feel like that was when he just kind of went down this like downward spiral into like all this grifting, acting like an anti woke, and that's where I feel like it started. And while and as someone who actually is an avid fan of the show and actually watches the show, yeah, it's still a good show despite the main character not being the best. It's a very good show. It's just people like a Chibi have have really just kind of not given the show the best reputation because of how the fan base acts, to where they'll go out their way defending everybody, defending the characters' every actions and getting mad if anyone doesn't like the show or doesn't like Rui as a character. It is really annoying, and I've had some debates in the Discord server of that damn show. Let's just say the mods have cracked the whip and pretty much don't really tolerate people getting mad if someone has a different opinion. So they actually are pretty good about like letting you have your opinion in that damn Discord and not you getting shit for it. Mm-hmm. It's just the people who defend Rudy just really, oh boy, I hate to say they need their hard drives checked.
All right. Hey,
I'm not gonna say more about the character. I want to keep spoiling things that happen in the show.
I got you.
That's you have any questions? But that's pretty much like where
you think it happened. Well, I know there was other things that happened around, like the incest stuff started coming out and different things like that. Egad's in the waiting room. I'm gonna pull him in too here, so we'll get into a little debates before we move on. Anybody who watches this and wants to come in who has a different opinion, we'll do it. What's up, Egad?
Hey, what's up?
Wow, it's another day. You got some comments on this this lolly stuff? I can tell you with you. Oh, go ahead.
No, I would go ahead. What you were saying?
Well, I was gonna say with Kaz like that. Maybe the show is trying to show how disgusting this guy is, but that just sounds horrendous to me. Like not even something I would get involved with.
Here's a common question. The people who watch the show regularly are asking, so when is this character actually going to get better and start to kind of grow from his very juvenile, degenerate way of things and not realizing that the way he sees the world and sees women is kind of fucking creepy. And there's something that happened in the recent season that I'm not going to spoil that kind of reignites wow, this guy's kind of a shitty person. But I'm not gonna. That's a major spoiler. I'm not gonna bring that one up.
I gotcha.
The overall point I wanted to make was that what is in common with a lot of grifters, a lot of people like Chibi, but also like Savvy and even Smash JT and a bunch of other guys in this circle is they are like extreme libertarians, and what I mean by that is they. You just have to ask the question, you can start off with the question if you were to argue with them is, would you let your children engage in any of this stuff? And if the answer is no, you'd say, why not? And at that point, they can be like, at a certain point, well, kids don't understand. Well, what don't they understand? And they're still going to make all these excuses as to why their children can't, get involved in it. It's like, but so as soon as you're 18, you get involved in it, and what exactly changes? Like, I don't really understand what is there some intellectual thing that happens between childhood and adulthood where suddenly engaging in this stuff is okay now? But
Vincent
beyond that,
I was answer, but it would devolve the stream. Hey, we're all talking about stuff right now. I have no problem talking about this for a little while.
Right. Well, rather than caricaturize it, the point is a libertarian extremist generally defends the rights of any entrepreneur to peddle material or promote any behaviors, even if they're harmful to society. But the sole thing, this is partially why I don't believe his thing was like what was he saying? He wouldn't be as popular. Well, he's got his own market. That's the thing is and his market are people who are consuming this stuff because this stuff is really beneficial to themselves. It's part of a long list of things like sports gambling. You know, you got crypto scams. You got teens who are using steroids and who are also using pornography.
Yeah.
But you got people like you got libertarian extremists who assert that everybody is just ultimately responsible for everything that goes on in their own lives, and and this is a complete rejection of any social obligations you might have. I think it destroys the concept. There's a concept called noblesse oblige that this completely destroys that you're actually supposed to kind of do some self-sacrificial stuff, or you know, you could engage in like certain acts of degeneracy, but it's like, but you're going to hurt the rest of society by doing so. You want to use your energy and resources for others, you know, after you've handled yourself. That's the kind of idea. But
Yeah, and you can get into other stuff like, well, everyone is responsible for themselves, but as we've started getting to know more about the human body and human things like addiction. You got yourself into addiction, but generally most people can't get themselves out. You need someone in society to help you, a friend or things like that. Ultimately, you have to make the decision to say, hey, I'm going to get better, but it's a lot harder to do it by yourself, right?
yeah, I think a good point of comparison here would be, you know, we have the Second Amendment, but we would still rather live in a high trust society where we didn't have to shoot people. You know, we do it for self defense, but it's not like we're like, oh, I have the Second Amendment, which means I can live anywhere and I'll be just fine. It's like, no, you generally want to live somewhere where you're free from criminal activity, right? That's what I mean.
Yeah. The Second Amendment's not for, well, this is just me being a constitutionalist. Second Amendment's not for self-defense anyway. But yeah, I get your meaning behind it. Yeah,
Right.
you still want to do a lot. For most of it, you want to stick to societal norms. People are different. People have different things. They like different things. But there is a point where you start to get into degeneracy of some point, whether it's drugs or anything else. And we don't see positives come from any of those things.
Yeah. Yeah, in some of the negatives we've seen, this is what I hate about how I don't think people like Chibi and others see that there's other negative effects that are adjacent to this that you don't really think about, like microtransactions in video games, for instance. Like microtransactions in video games, loot boxes, that kind of stuff, you know, encourages kids into a kind of a gambling mindset, that kind of thing, and that's why a lot of, you know, countries actually ban that kind of stuff. But they say, but they promote it. It's promoted, and it's hard to argue against it because it still goes under the umbrella of, oh, these publishers should be free to put this stuff out, and everyone else should be free to view it, and everyone should be free to advertise what they want to children and to adolescents and all this stuff. And I think it just leads to a lot of brainwashing in a lot of people.
Yeah.
I'm actually happy to see that the government actually stepped in there, and it's kind of sad to see that, you know, certain game developers just throw a hissy fit and then be like, well, you know what, no more game for this region. And I'm like, bro, I don't know just how the function works in the dang on game. No reason just to pull the game entirely because you're mad at your way of making money is gone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just it. It's the way of making money. This kind of manipulation, because it's manipulation of people, and it works. Like we can map the brain and what it's doing when you see like a FOMO thing, and tell yourself, well, I need to get it now. And same thing was happening with like cigarettes, where they were using Camels is the infamous one, using cartoons because cartoons appealed to children. They knew what they were doing. They were trying to appeal to a younger audience to get them to start smoking so they would be more lifetime smokers, right? Same thing with these what are they called? Dark habits, dark things in games. They promote they do things to your brain that can make those that are more susceptible to it, you know, give it. A lot of it has been already proven with gambling, and we made a bunch of things in gambling illegal. We have groups that are there to help people who have gambling addictions, but when it's the gaming industry, well, it's just games. It's not the same thing.
Even though there's been studies about chemicals in your brain and brain patterns that actually do change as a result of getting involved in some of these things. It's like
Yeah.
like an addiction to pornography. I think your brain chemistry changes the same way it would if you're addicted to any substance like cocaine or something.
Yeah, there's more. It's more white matter, I think is what it's called. When you
Yeah.
jerk off to porn, more white matter builds up in your brain, and it causes problems with the way you think and the way your brain functions. So
Yeah. And this is again what a lot of the right wing, even though it's not, I think these guys are, I don't think they're all necessarily right wing, but the right wing backlash to DEI messaging and entertainment, things like that. It really isn't that principled when you look at it. It's mostly devolves into anger with the fact that, oh, the feminists, they're removing hot chicks in tight clothes from our alpha male simulators. But even though it's a kind of a misnomer, because most of them are playing as hot females anyway.
yeah,
So it's like one in yeah. There was some study that showed that like 1 in 3 male gamers today in MMOs prefer to play with female avatars. So
that I didn't
just
know.
Much catfish
Yeah.
that goes on. I've heard the catfish stories of people doing shit like that. Would it be a female care avatar in the game and just to fuck with dudes?
Yeah,
I
like
mean, I do
MMOs.
agree. There is some kind of a like, I don't want to call it a war, because a war is kind of like it's hyperbolic, but I do think there is this attack on things that are beautiful, like aesthetically beautiful. And I do agree with people who oppose that attack. But in general, I think, again, I don't think the current iteration of it, what we see from people like this is very principled.
Yeah. Well, and
It's
go ahead.
go ahead, War.
Yeah. So I agree there is some form of that in some cases, because there are people who say it online. I don't know that I agree with how large the idea of the uglification of women is shown, because I think a lot of the things are just end up being like choices. Like they'll one big one that I saw was 2B from Near Automaton was doing a collab with Rainbow Six, and
Yes, Rainbow Six.
yeah, they just put one of the characters in her outfit, but it's like, well, that's the uglification of women. Well, no, it's really not. It's them, putting the clothes on that model. They're a gaming company. They're lazy. They don't want to make a whole new model for Nier. They want to slap it on there and send it out. I don't think that's the uglification of women. I think there's a lot of cases
Yeah,
like that they say it.
yeah, I
Or
did. Yeah,
yeah,
I think people don't realize that same thing happened with Overwatch when they did it. The same thing with, I think the character's name is Kiko. Yeah, for Overwatch, and I'm just like, y'all don't understand how skins work. They're gonna have to actually change the skin to fit the character that it's wearing. It's not just gonna be 2B. It's gonna be a character as 2B, so it's not going to be the same thing.
yeah.
It's so weird
And when you get into those kind of
to see
games, then
people
you have to
always complain about
change.
stuff like this.
Yeah, then you get into it. You got to change hitboxes. You got to change everything else with it. I do think there are examples. Like I'll say it, because I'm still looking forward to this game. What they did with Fable, I feel like it was to drum up controversy. The character that they used, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't like, I don't think it's Fable didn't have like a lot of hugely beautiful characters. They're mainly because of the modeling and the way the graphics were in that day. They did have women that were like slim and in skimpy outfits, and though hopefully I would think they would still have it in here too. It's just kind of part of that game. Call me an anti-woker if you want. But
I'm not. I'm not a big fan of game companies delving into that like realm of like purposely doing things just to drum up like a response. I get sometimes controversy creates cash. I'm a pro wrestling fan, so I should know this far too well. But it's like at some point, can you just sum the game as the game and not do like purposely dumb things just to piss people off?
Well, I think some of these, like even when it comes to Chibi and other anti-workers, it seems bigger than it is, right? You look at the anti-woke community; it's very small compared to some other communities there. I mean, it sits next to a bunch of other communities, but there's not a ton of popular ones, and they're also kind of falling off the wayside. One pops up and then loses everything, and another one pops up and loses everything. I think the fake uh, wizard was the last one to come in. I forgot where I was going with this point. Fuck my brain.
Well, something else I was going to say is that I know that Chibi is part of a community of people who they really aren't. It's why they are probably more interested in like anime and all these things because of the aspect, the pornographic aspect of it.
The fan
But
service.
yeah, the fan service. And what's interesting, I mean, you don't want to, not to refer too hard to, KF and Null, but there are some people who argue that all of this stuff actually plays a role in transgender phenomenon because it encourages autogynephilia. So it's not to say that all games where you play as women are bad, but they're emergent trends right now, tangible to a lot of things. So that's why I think is a lot of these people, they're not having children. That's a big difference between like folks like you, or you have kids, so you have a little bit, you're more conscious about these things. But these other people, what are they doing? They're just they're just freely engaging with their whims. They're gooning to their video games and their porn. And there's basically anytime anybody comes in and says, hey, we need to like, start thinking about, society and everything, then it's like, oh, Chibi comes out and says, oh, yeah, this is a violation of my individual freedom to coom, and
Which
yeah.
is funny because like it's not necessarily that way. Like he's not going to get arrested for having lolly on his computer, right? And what he does by himself in his home, generally outside of it harming people, most people are going to say do whatever you want. But
Mhm.
when you're openly coming out into society and saying things that go against what the norm is in society, you're going to catch flack. You're going to be seen as a outside of society in general.
What's funny? I was just thinking about this too. Is he come out and say that he was infertile at some point in time?
Did he?
I think so. I think
Kazma.
he said he was infertile, or he can't have kids now for some reason. Like he's got there's something wrong. Well, the reason I brought it up is I know that Jeremy Hambley, the quartering,
Mhm.
he's he's married, but he was recently shown, or people found out he's just a big coomer as well. Like even though he's married. But what's noteworthy is he and his wife couldn't have any kids, and there's a possibility that doing all this gooning is actually making you infertile. Like it's kind of ruining your reproduction somewhere along the way too.
Yeah. I haven't seen any direct studies on that. That may be something I have to look into. The problem with that is
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that are going on in society. There was a study that came out that said 100% of men that they looked at their testicles have microplastics in them.
Yeah.
And we don't know if that could affect the things like that. But yeah, I mean, there's at the very least, it's the opposite of the career woman who doesn't want a man and then gets to be in her 40s and decides she wants children, but now we're talking higher risks, or the market is now much smaller because everyone else has gotten married and started having kids. This is just the opposite of that. They're gooning until they're in their 40s or 50s.
Yeah.
Deciding
Meanwhile,
yeah.
you'd have to ask, what are they contributing to society? And I don't really think it's that much. I think, if they were gone tomorrow, I don't think it would like hurt. Not to be like extremely mean to them, but it's like if they were gone tomorrow, I don't think the world would bat an eye. So
Right. If you want to put a group of strange people that I think society might not be able to be without, I would say furries, because they're all the programmers and
yeah.
IT guys. But yeah, absolutely.
So one thing if I could say something, one thing about this, like, gooing thing that just kind of really just irks me is that there was a good video from Anthony I forgot how he said dude's last name, but Anthony, and he pointed out something that I thought that really doesn't get talked about enough, where he talked about fan service and he talked about like older animes and how they had all these beautiful women in it. And one thing he kind of kept emphasizing about a lot of older anime is that all the women that we found beautiful were adults. And I'm sitting here like, when he brought that up, I'm like, what happened? How do we go from having all these like a gorgeous adult woman to where some of these creators just shoving like 14-year-old girls in skimpy outfits at you, hoping to God that you love them as a character? And I'm just like, what happened? There is a disconnect. There's like a disconnect now. Are there still like gorgeous adult women in anime? Yes, but it's not as common as it should be.
Well, it really never has been. I mean, if you look back at a lot of anime and stuff like that, schoolgirls tends to be kind of the norm with that. Sailor Moon, they're in high school. I'm trying to think. I don't remember a lot of animes, but a lot of the animes that I watched as a kid usually involved high schoolers, and they were still very much fan service, very much everything else. And just about all of them have it in there at some form. So maybe the popularization of anime coming over to the West started to more normalize that in people's heads. But you would think like you grow out of it at some point and be like, all right, not growing out of watching anime, like you can enjoy anime, but growing out of the idea that I should be enjoying the sexual stuff of the fan service, we'll say.
I think it's a cope a little bit. I mean, it's a little bit like how I going back to video games, how they make video games more addictive through like the gambling I was talking about, but they do other things. Like people actually study video games and study habits to make video games more addictive. I think the same principle governs anime, where again, if we look at the girls in the outfits, skimpy outfits, you don't, and was it Sarawatari?
Yeah, Saru, just Saru.
Saru. Yeah, like you were saying, Saru is there's not a whole lot of like mature women, and I think it's because it's a simulation for females at their most fertile, which is when they're younger. So that's why there's the attractive, and again, it's guys who are gooning, who are probably not in a relationship or are attracted or addicted to their simulations of relationships.
Here we got.
And so,
hold on. Vincent decided he wanted to step in the ring here, so let's go ahead and bring him on.
Okay.
Vincent, what's going on, my man?
Hey, what's up, Vincent?
Give me a sec. You caught me when I was letting the cat out the bag or room.
Okay.
What's up? Okay,
You
anime.
literally keep your cat in the bag. Is that what it is?
No, it was bugging me about food. It's like I
I
want out.
I would
Scratch,
agree
scratch,
with that. I
scratch.
hate cats.
I mean, I don't have pigs around, so I am the beta pet owner. Anime is getting discussed, so why not jump in, even if I don't argue over Rudy with the master with the Very sexy avatar. But God, what the hell is with that thing? Sorry, I have to ask.
It's Human Rouge the Bad as
a humanized version of Rouge the Back. I should have guessed it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just personal sense of curiosity.
No, you're fine.
Okay, I'm trying to get back on track. So continue on, and I'll probably jump in because
here.
anime is sort of a
Yeah,
specialty of mine.
Like a current popular character right now that's actually an adult is your Folger from Spy X Family, which is nice to see. On a lesser level, there's I from Osaka no Ko. So like we have a few. Well, yeah, she was an adult. She got killed. Never mind. Yeah, she was. So like we're getting. There are still women that like mature women that do capture the interest and the appeal, and of the characters. Roxy from go back to Miss Tenzin. Roxy from Miss Tenzin. That's another mature character that people really really like. So it's not a dying breed, but it seems that the focus just doesn't always seem to be around like really trying to make sure we have these adult characters that are just awesome at what they do. And it's something that I notice as a consumer of this. And, one thing I about a show that I recently watched a little while ago that was really great, To Be Hero X. It was a show that didn't really have much fan service. And if it had like younger characters, they were modelly dressed, but they still look cute. Not attractive, but they still look cute. The ones who were actually adults actually looked attractive, and I felt like that show really was kind of like what I would like look for in an anime from like the 2000s, where it's obviously a battle shonen, but like it really seems to understand and respect its characters and controls itself. As if the show has any fan service, it's with the actual adult characters in the show because they're grown ass women. So that's something that I
blame Moe culture of the early 2000s for the sudden uprise in the cute girls. I mean, there are some. Yeah. There is an argument for the cute girls bringing out the protective nature of men in a non-sexual way. There's an argument for that, but I think people get their wires crossed.
Yeah, well, I think I've remember watching something talking about like the history of anime, and EGAD kind of said it too, is that when you look at like Japanese culture and things like that, they really covet the freedom you had in your younger years. So that's why a lot of animes tend to refer to high school and things like that. But at some point that became much more twisted because, well, they call it fan service for a reason because it sells.
Yeah,
and then you get people who...
and America has a hyper fixation on nudity equals sexual, which is like Europe. They're much more open with it. I don't know about in the East. They have weird rules, but I just know America has weird sort of rules about, but the fan service is obviously meant to be sexual in a lot of these situations. So it's weird.
What's particular? I was gonna say what's particular for anime is what the anime is offering that just pornography isn't, regular pornography isn't offering, is they always have a setup where these characters have their community, or they get involved with a community. Now, whether it's a harem of a bunch of other girls, or if it's a kingdom they're in, like an isekai, is they always go into some community. So you got this feel like, oh, now I'm part of a group where I belong, which is interesting. I think that's remarking on a desire people have that's probably not being fulfilled by society. So because it's not being fulfilled by society, boom, I got my anime that's fulfilling that.
Yeah.
But well, it's identity. I think it's the replacement identity pop.
Simon wants to jump in, so I'm gonna pull him in too. Simon's finally home from work.
This guy's legendary.
Okay, let's Simon hear my theory out. Just like with furries and lolicons, I think a lot of people want victimhood online nowadays. Joining these groups, you can play the victim. You're a furry, they're being attacked for being weirdos. You're a lolicon, they have this sort of NPC talking point. It's like a way to get victimhood points online. They're calling us pedos. Well,
Okay,
yeah,
so-
you're sort of talking, even if you're joking about fucking these fictional characters, you're still really red flags.
Okay,
Just a little
so
theory.
so you're basically going into the whole victimhood thing of the whole argument. Okay, whatever. That's one thing of looking at it. I can 100% agree that a lot of these losers tend to have a massive victim complex for sure.
They want a
But
reason to cry victim.
Here's where, again, because in the beginning of the stream when Wargaming was going over the whole lolicon stuff, saying, "Oh, you're attracted to fictional children," like, and whatever. Here's my way of looking at it, because I see it the same way as I see it as a kink. Because again, here, yeah, it's weird, but the whole thing is that if people who have a rape kink or a reverse rape kink, or I don't know, who are into, getting railed by animals or whatever, does that make them a rapist for consuming that content? If it's fictional, it's a drawing, it's based on something that isn't real, does that make them a zoophile for consuming that content?
No, but it
So-
makes them a potential zoophile. It's like if you're having fantasies about it.
Okay, but that's the
Yeah.
thing. The whole
Can I
fantasy idea.
Can I answer,
The whole
can I answer that
yeah.
question?
Yeah.
So here's this, with what you consume and what you are into, when you start to become open about it and start laying things out there, people are gonna judge you a certain way and start to
Yeah,
think
they're
of you
going to
a certain way.
judge you a certain way, but you also have to remember, most people who are mentally sane, mentally stable, their kinks, especially when
Okay.
it comes to the whole stuff that's in drawings, it doesn't translate well into actual practice.
There's the thing.
Hold on.
Mentally stable.
It's what-
Okay, mentally
Yeah.
stable.
It's when your kink that it's based in fictional and it's actually on the illegal side when you actually do it in practice. When it starts translating into practice, that we have a problem.
So
That's
Yeah,
my-
It
here's the thing
depends
that
on
I
how
think is the
hard you
difference.
goon on this.
Well, no, it's so when you're talking about, like, there's two things you mentioned. I think the best comparison out of all of those that I can compare is zoophilia, because yes, I think if you watch porn of a woman getting fucked by an animal, that you are a zoophile, because the very definition of zoophile is a person who is sexually attracted to animals.
Okay, but here's the thing.
Well, that's if you
Again,
do
like,
it
that's the thing.
exclusively and can only get off to it, though. Okay,
Yeah, but
if
that's
you
the thing.
just
You
stumble
also-
upon it and get curious, I can get that. But
Okay,
if you
but here's the-
exclusively, I agree.
Well, yeah,
Again, where I'm getting at is where the whole point is, if you're actually consuming it and it's actually like, the actual live material of it, like not the drawing shit where it's actually like a real person, then that's when you can actually say, oh, then it's actually very like actually illegal, because now you're actually consuming illegal material.
well,
That's
right.
actually
Well,
It's
it's that
illegal.
drawing
Here's
match
the
in
thing.
reality.
Yeah, here's the thing. It is illegal to fuck an animal. It's
Yes.
You're still
It's
a
also illegal.
zoophile whether you fuck an animal or whether you engage in being attracted to fucking an animal. Saying you're a
Okay.
pedophile isn't the same thing as saying you are that you have same thing as you saying that you have raped a child.
Okay, but-
this fucking
Yeah,
video
and
is
you
gonna
don't
get
need to be a
hit.
pedophile to rape a child. There's plenty of child predators, who would rape a child, but they're not. They're just sexually attracted to taking advantage of the sort of innocence of someone. There's also
Right.
that distinction there.
But isn't that like what pedophilia usually composes of?
Pedophilia is the attraction to children. That's what
Yes,
pedophilia
and
is.
there is some sexual predators who would rape a child who would not would also rape an adult. They are attracted to the act of rape, taking the
Yeah,
innocence.
Okay,
I
okay,
just
okay, yeah. Well,
wanted to
that's
put that out there.
But
There
again,
is
that's
some people in anime that get into it's the whole kink thing. It's more
Yeah.
about the rape fetish, as you were bringing up.
Well, again, that's the part I'm saying as well, because you have to remember, anime and hentai tends to have a lot of that in it as well. So, like I said, because if you consume that in like get off to that. Does that make you a rapist as well because it's drawings and whatever?
Well, a
Does that make you
rapist-
more?
No, but if you're an unstable individual, it's almost a sexual attraction. Getting off, gooting, it releases a chemical. It has the same
Yeah.
effect on people as pretty much drugs. You can reaching that higher and higher drug. Sometimes the little thing, the drawing,
I
might
think
not
we're
give you a
approaching
fix.
at the wrong angle though. We're not talking about stuff like Bible Black or Viper GTS. We're talking about people who want to fuck a literal kid in Anya from Spy X Family. We're talking about, Kana from Kobayashi's Maid Drag. We're talking about
You-
shows like that.
Well,
yeah,
Not
but it-
like if you're watching Bible
Yeah,
Black, I'm not.
but
That's like one thing.
Yeah,
but-
again-
those shows don't have those characters in sexual. People on the internet
they don't.
sexualize them,
Yeah,
and
they
those people are
sexualize
weird.
them at them, but again, it still actually is technically like just a drawing in fiction when
so
you really
here's
think
the
about
thing.
it.
Let's go with it.
Here-
Let's go.
here's my
I want to go
pushback.
back to the rapist term, right? I want to go back to the rapist.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
We're looking at definitions and what words mean. Like the definition of a rapist is someone who commits rape, right? So that's different than
Yes.
someone who is attracted to the kink of raping or being raped. So I don't think
Yeah, but
someone is like if you are you could argue the toss. I'll get a little contrarian here. You could argue the idea that him calling him a predator is not what someone who enjoys lolly is, because when we say predator, we tend to think of someone who is actively going after real children, right? So
Yeah.
in the same
Yeah.
way that like a rapist is that way, but it still comes down to the idea like pedophilia, you're sexually attracted to kids. It doesn't matter if it's a drawing of a kid. It doesn't matter if it is a real life kid. You have a sexual attraction to children. So it doesn't mean that you've committed a crime yet.
Okay, but like I said, that's the whole part where I'm looking at it differently, because again, it's a kink. It's a kink. It's based on drawings, and if it's your kink actually starts translating into actual practice, then we got a problem.
Okay.
That's right.
So,
That's the way I'm looking at it. That's the way I look at it. But you also and again, most people who are mentally stable in the head, their kinks usually do not translate to actual practice. It's kind of like the whole thing of like people who are into like, I don't know, futanari, and then they actually try and date like a trans woman that still has her male appendage, and it doesn't actually translate. They can't, get
It's a
hard to it.
disordered. It's a disordered desire, though.
but,
Yeah.
yeah, but one when you get into stuff like Futanari and like Yaoi and Yuri and stuff like that,
That's legal. That shit is
not only is
legal.
it legal, well, the problem is that stuff is outside of like one thing here or there. A lot of it's just fetishization on the Japanese part, and it's like heavy fetishization. If you have actually watched that stuff, it's just straight up fetish porn. Sometimes,
Yeah, well, that's the whole.
embarrassing.
Yeah, again, I'm aware of that. Again, I tend to be very active around NSFW circles, so I kind of know what the whole fucking fetish shit is.
Yeah, like like look, there's good BL and GL out there that isn't just a creator just jerking off as they write the story about how much they like seeing two guys kissing or two girls kissing.
Yeah,
but there is just like but there is like animes with like good trans character that isn't just someone being like very horny about a trans woman.
Yeah.
But one thing I would want to say is that I understand separating fiction and reality and how it can like turn into urges and people want that real thing. But one thing where I'm very like mixed on the lolicon situation is just that when the character's age is defined. I want to make it clear. I'm talking about when the character's age is defined and how the character mannerism. It's one thing if you like Green Tornado from One Punch Man. She's an actual adult. Despite her height, she's an actual adult. I'm not going to give you shit over that because it's an actual adult. But it's when and she acts like an adult. But it gets very weird when it's the characters I mentioned before. To toss in another character, it gets very weird when you talk about Erdis from Makoto Tenjin. It gets very weird when you're talking about some of Rudy's sister from Miss Contention. That's where it gets weird. That's where it gets like
Rudy
very
doesn't
weird.
have a sister.
Well,
you mean
okay.
cousin?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
when the
There's
age is
also the whole thing about physical attraction and mental attraction. I think that could contribute to this. Are you more romantically? I mean, with Rudy, he was pretty much a mental child, even at 30 years old. And he was pretty much a horrible, horrible human being who wasted his whole life. And the whole concept around that is in this other world, he's learning to mature. He gets, after he has sex with that cousin, I can't think of her name, he gets erectile function after he leaves.
Jesus.
Eris. Okay, it's been a while since I watched it.
No,
I didn't want to get on this tangent.
Let's we're getting off on this anime. Here's the thing I want to get on with Simon. Because we're talking about kinks, right? That's kind of your thing with it. You agree that you're still sexually attracted to a child, so it's pedophile. You're still would be considered a pedophile, right?
Yes and no. Not
Yes and
really.
no.
Like like depending on the term. Like honestly, like because nowadays when you say pedophile, people just use it to say someone who's actually like
Sure.
harming kids and raping kids or
they're-
whatever. So now basically the whole term pedo and predator are basically just interchangeable at this point, which is why I don't really consider it that way.
I think it's about the physical attraction and the mental attraction, because some people get really attracted to the mental state of these characters. That's it. You can continue.
All right. Yeah. So when it comes to kinks, though, when you're talking about the kinks and stuff like that, kinks in general are very
Just
rarely accepting in society. And in my thing, like kinks are not treated equally, right? Someone with a rape fetish, for instance,
Will be treated better than someone with a freaking lolly fetish or a furry fetish or whatever.
Sure.
What about age play war? Okay, if someone wanted to just have their very adult looking wife or significant other just act cute, act younger because they find that the act during sex just to be interesting. What's your thought on that? I just want to lay it out.
So even with it, like, here's the thing. Yeah, it's a kink. You can do whatever you want in your bedrooms, but you're still following that mentality of I want to fuck a child. Yeah, it's not a child. It's your.
But if it was a completely adult woman, you just like them acting like a child, like big breast, everything. Just a hypothetical.
I don't know. I'd have to look more into that kind of kinks to see where
Since we're
people
talking
fall.
about
Again,
But,
like anything
yeah.
else. But going back on the whole topic,
I had another question though about whether or not whether or not the person who watches this stuff is a pedophile. I had a question about are they bringing harm to themselves, even if they're not bringing harm to somebody else, like a child?
Okay.
Are they bringing harm to themselves?
if they're bringing like when they're actually consuming the stuff.
The entertainment
Like,
or the art or whatever it is.
I mean, like anything else, it all depends. Depends on the individual. Some people, they just consume it because they need to get cool going on, but they don't let the whole thing dominate like their whole life, their mentality, and whatever. And they already know that they won't act on that type of shit. So again, I guess it's really dependent on the individual, because you do have some people that let that shit dominate their entire life and actually, they get addicted to it, and it can lead to them doing some very irrational stuff.
Well, yeah, but there's other things like that too, like drug abuse, things like that.
Yeah, I kind of like that as well. But that's the thing. It depends on the individual. Some people will just not really, it won't let them affect them. It won't affect them, and other people's it will.
So
yeah, some people have a higher predilection to become an addict, and others won't.
But again, but if you want to talk about the whole lolly thing, like regarding that shit, you do have people in the lolicon community who are actual danger to children. You do have actual bad actors that infiltrate that type of shit who actually do get off of that shit and
will use lolicon to groom children. Okay,
Yes.
there are cases of that.
Yeah,
Here's the
just
thing.
like there are cases of people who are into furries or the whole zoophile stuff. They're actual zoophiles, and actually
I wouldn't say those are bad actors, but
no, those
were just who they are, and
those people
they
were the
are.
people who were already sick in the head that were already going to act on their kink
Yeah.
when their
Well,
kink actually translates into actual practice.
Yeah.
From the harm, I was going to say from the harm standpoint, I would also move on to, because I mentioned this before, is I know a lot of industries, because the pornography industry is it is industry. I think because there's certain things that are completely outlawed, like child pornography, completely outlawed.
Yeah.
Is anime is a way for people who are, industries employ evolutionary psychologists to exploit and manipulate basic human impulses.
Mm-hmm.
So in that context, I think it makes it a lot harder to make the argument against certain things, because these people who are trying to make money off of this, and people will make money off of this, are going to find any way they can to make money off of your kinks, whatever it is, and kind of skirt the law doing so. And here's the other thing is, we already are at a point in society where people can just outright just have sex with children and get away with it. I mean, we got the Epstein files, and how many people are actually being prosecuted and going to jail? Hardly any of them.
But again, you have to remember, that's the whole case of the Epstein files shit. That's because a lot of these people are in positions of influence, and most of the time, money talks.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Is
and that people who are in high places of power can get away with shit that the average Joe wouldn't be able to get away with.
Well, it's not just high places of power. It's any, like, Discord groups get caught all the time, and most of the people in the Discords don't get caught. They delete the accounts, they disappear, and then you go into people doing
that's more so of an internet type of problem, type of shit. That's more so of more so of the case where you can blame the internet for that one, because a lot of this shit that happens online, it's hard to trace back, and not every goddamn cops.
Yeah, but it's still a huge industry that isn't necessarily built off of the super rich.
You're absolutely right.
I don't think the Discord stuff is a huge industry about what you're saying there, though. That's predators exploiting the internet and Discord to get into spaces with children and finding ways to make the idea of sex with the adult more palatable, or sex in general.
Grooming.
But the better thing you want to look at it, compare it really, is just the porn industry overall, because there are stuff that happens in the porn industry, and there are places where you can get the actual more illegal stuff as well. That's the better way of looking at it.
Anyway, because this is Wargaming Dad's stream, and he's kindly let us all talk. I think he needs to talk.
I wanted to say one thing about kinks.
I mean, go ahead.
One thing about kinks is that it varies. It's not gonna be always the same thing. I know we're focusing on very, very extreme ones, but I follow someone who does OF and legit has dudes that give her lots of money, and their kink is just that they like women insulting them or being rude to them. So that's one thing about when we talk about kinks, is that we gotta remember that kinks is a very wide, wide net that is being cast here. Not every kink is the same.
Well, I think we've got a pretty good circle on a lot of our different views, different things that are going around it. I do want to hit Smash JT's information up before I end the night tonight. So,
all right. So I guess we're moving on, but yeah, I guess we kind of got an idea of where everybody stands on that.
Yeah. So, anyways,
point is, kinks are weird. It doesn't matter what you're into; you're always going to get flack for it one way or another.
That's why I stick to just mission.
Yeah, if you're a proud lolicon online, stop playing a victim. If people call you a pedo, especially.
Oh no, yeah. Here's the thing, and that's the whole argument. Because again, I tend to be more on Shibis and people on the side of Shibi and people when it comes to that. So when people call me a pedo over that shit, at this point I just brush it off, because it's everybody calls everybody a pedo these days.
Yeah.
Over
Yeah, that's true.
nothing.
Anyway, like I said, we're gonna go ahead and move on to Smash JT before I end the night. Got a good 45 minutes. It's just stuff to read. So
So
I'm
on my
booting
part,
all of you.
I'm actually going to dip on this one because I wasn't really going to talk about that. So yeah.
Oh, because
All right,
you
guys.
hate Smash JT. We understand.
Yeah, well, I love Smash
Yeah,
JT.
all right, I'll let you do your
understand how
thing.
much-
I guess you gotta get my.
He's your
lunch
Walk.
ready.
I'll have fun.
Work tomorrow. I will be watching if I can. But all right, then. Well, thank you so much. For
Enjoy
having me.
your anime. Appreciate it.
I'll stick. I was on Smash JT before either of you
no.
guys did. So fuck
I'm
you.
kicking you out. This is going so long.
Yeah.
Stuff.
You're just kicking me out and leaving
No,
EGAD. I
No,
see how.
EGADs. I'm kicking EGAD.
I
dude.
know.
All right, guys. We'll see y'all later.
Good night.
All right. So, just had my first pedophile debate. And I hate you, Kamoji, for saying Kink Gaming Dad. I'm considering just getting rid of you completely over that. And then Damaged, I didn't get a chance to talk to yours. Yeah, we got everybody on tonight. But now we're going to go over to Smash. We're going to look at some of the stuff that's recently happened. Anyone who doesn't know, he has been crashing out. A settlement came in. We're pretty sure he hasn't taken it, but nothing's been said yet about it. But I wanted to show a couple of the tweets that have been happening over the last 24 hours on it. So he is big mad about this. And I don't think he really understands what's actually going on. He also, I'm going to open this because we need to see if anything's changed. Last I checked, he had earned about $30 from this tweet, though he does have a whale, which we'll go over too if we have time. But Smash JT got on. He was super mad at the whole releasing of the settlement. And I don't know necessarily where I stand on the idea of releasing the settlement because I don't know how that goes in law. It's not a legal document, right? You can argue that it was rude to do, but you can also argue that Smash JT was already talking about this this settlement beforehand. So she just went ahead and released the settlement on there, right? So it could go both ways, but he crashed out pretty hard over this. I've heard I haven't gone and seen it myself, but he's starting to hide comments from people. I can say back in the day when I first was going at Smash, this was around the McDizzle incident, as we'll call it. He hid one of my messages and then blocked me over it. So this is a pattern of behavior with Smash JT. Is he wants the message. He wants everyone to like him. He wants like he pretends this idea of I'm going to be a hater. I like being hated. This is going to work out for me. But he really wants to see the positive comment. He wants his fans to see it. So we'll start here though with this post of interesting stuff. So ever since Alyssa Mercante has targeted me for covering her many questionable public comments and actions, I have received a deluge of hateful and sometimes even threatening messages on a consistent basis. Just like I said with Chibi, fucking cry about it. Fuck me. Right at the end. I was almost to the end without doing it. Did Damage got blocked over his comment in the posts? Did he? No. Did he? Yeah, I remember, I think him telling me that. Of all people, the Daywalker got Oh goodness. Got reset the counter. I need to get a counter for my mutes. Day streams since last muted. It would always be on 0 though. This is why you shouldn't kick me. Maybe next time, Egad, or not Egad, Vincent. But I know if I have you on, it'll be another 2 hours of us going through this information. Like I don't care about threats, right? There's most of them, if just all of them, except maybe one that's a serious threat. Like you'll know when it's a serious threat, right? That you should take on are just shitters online saying stupid stuff. Just ignore them and move the fuck on. Then there's this though, his own little threat. Yes, I have the receipts, and yes, I have been saving them. Like, what receipts? Are you talking about the people who? Here's the thing that's happened with Smash is he actually believes that by us going in and making comments on his shitty behavior, that it's the same as his long history of harassment. It's not just about the tweets or even the videos. It's about both of those things in tandem, as well as an entire website dedicated to following these people through their careers and stopping them from getting the jobs. While it's not illegal, it is or could be taken as encouraging harassment. It's the constant posts about her looks or her being a whore and things like that go over and go. By itself, absolutely free speech. It's the amount of that information that's being done, right? It's one thing to make a video on somebody or a couple of videos on somebody, right? When the topic is interesting. It's different when you're making, he's probably at 100 videos now that has Alyssa's name in it. I've seen videos and streams of people making threats against each other that are hilarious. Yeah, it can actually be really funny. But when it's just some shitter online, like, oh no, this 5 fucking sub or 5 follower account said that they're gonna do whatever to me. Yeah, stalking her on Blue Sky. You're right, Vincent. And had he been swatted? I didn't realize that. Doxed, yes, I know. You just ignore it. In fact, the more you talk about it, the more haters or the more people who get off by that are going to show up. So just no one gives a fuck. No one gives a fuck that you're getting hate on the internet or even death threats. It's part of being on the internet, unfortunately. One guy on a stream screaming at the top of his lungs about taking a 6-hour road trip. I mean, you had stuff that happened that ended up with Boogie shooting a weapon or shooting a round into the air. So some of that has gone too far. She has doxed my home address. She hasn't. Well, okay. You could argue that she has. Yes. I think putting it in a lawsuit was a huge mistake. Technically, not a legal dox, just like they would say about when they put out McDizzle's name. Attempted to cause strife in my marriage by contacting the wife. Yeah, sure. I can condemn this. Smash's website has like 20 people in the Kotaku detected thing. Could probably be considered harassment given how he and his fans act. Oh, well, that's my whole thing for it. And it's not just funny thing about the people. It's literally following where they go because, in his words, we need to get all these people out of gaming, right? He doesn't want Alyssa to ever talk about games ever again. I mean, we're to the point now that she could stop talking about games and he would probably still follow her to Blue Sky and pull up all of her tweets. Wrongfully accused you of harassment. The courts haven't decided that yet, bud. And laughed about my working in game. Oh God, who gives a fuck about her laughing at you working in games? That's like the lightest. That's like the lightest criticism. Oh. She and her legal team have now shared what I thought would be a private information. I know why you wanted it to be private, Smash. We all know why you wanted it to be private, but also it's not like legal documents, right? It's a request. It's like sending someone a cease and desist. Technically, a cease and desist is not a legal document. It's a warning of legal action if you don't stop doing whatever the person wants to do. That's the same thing with this document. It's saying, hey, shit doesn't look good for you. Here's the stuff that we have that we think can prove our case. You should go ahead and settle. And here's our terms, right? So I don't know how the judge is going to take all this. I feel sorry for this judge having to deal with this case because it's all fuckery all around. I can't imagine that this is how most of these cases go. But it's YouTubers and public figures online. I would guess, though, that she at least had the legal go-ahead from Remy, because she seems to be more intelligent than, or she seems to be more OPSEC heavy than Smash has been about this whole thing. She and her legal team have discovered jurisdiction to determine jurisdiction of New York in our case, and what could only imagine was done in an attempt to defame and discredit me in the court of public opinion. I mean, you wouldn't have. All she did was show proof that you're a liar. Absolute proof. Oh, also, and show that you're completely fucked by AI. Like, you're going to be a case study for AI psychosis. Because there's no legitimate connection of Smash JT in New York. It hasn't been proven yet. They're sticking to. It looks like they're sticking to the whole hypnotic idea. That the connection is with hypnotic and things like that. But they've already said, right? And they did it for a reason in this paper. They already said that, Smash, if this doesn't go through in New York, defame and discredit me in the court of public opinion. That's not really needed, dude. Smash has slowly destroyed his career, or his public opinion over the course of the last few years, as this case has gone on, and as he's done stupid things like trying to do the Indian racist, we'll call it performative racism. Oh, I don't know how strong the case is with hypnotic for it being in jurisdiction, but what she did do is point out that, hey, guess what, Smash? If we don't get jurisdiction here, we'll just sue you in California, right? I think they wanted to do it in New York because of particular laws that are in New York around harassment, but it doesn't mean they can't go back. And now looking at it, I actually think there is a case for the defamation claim because of what was released, what was seen, right? You can definitely, a normal person would definitely see the chat GPT logs as malicious, manipulating the AI to say what you wanted to say. She knows this, and her legal team knows it. So instead of finding any smoking gun in my private messages, that was more than happy to share everything with you. Were not more than happy. This is another lie. In fact, we have the email that this was another lie. I don't think I have the email on me. I should save more of this shit. Alyssa lives in New York, so maybe it would be more convenient for her to fight there. That's true too. I'm not sure the exact reasoning behind it. Oh, my allergies are killing me. So instead of finding the smoking gun in my private messages that I was more than happy to share everything with them to prove my innocence, they've now decided to turn up the heat on me. But you weren't. We've been fighting, like, this discovery has been going on because you haven't wanted to give anything up. In fact, you said it to an email sent to Ron that you wanted to drag this out and cost her more money. There's multiple instances of Smash wanting to delay discovery, what is the rewriting of history. I mean, it's gonna be really popular with all of his little retards online. They're gonna come in saying this shit, and then people are gonna drop the fucking evidence on them, and then they're gonna not know what to do and just be like, start sweeping everything under the rug. My family have been forced to live in constant fear because of her doxing and legal actions. I'm going to say this is a lie too, because he loves to post pictures of his kids and wife looking happy. He's been traveling like there's no tomorrow. If he was truly afraid for his family, he would not be traveling, right? He wouldn't be going places. He'd be held up in his house. I'm sure there are some threats that have come through that you might want to take seriously, right? In my case, I wouldn't post shit about my fucking kid so that people don't know what my kids look like. Alyssa's info on the farms and Smash shared multiple times. This is a non-argument. Agreed. It's the whole thing where like he says he hasn't doxed, or he says that she's doxed, which technically she hasn't doxed. Now, I don't know if she gave out the Facebook account to Airbagged or any of the others, so I can't say that did or didn't happen. But she herself has not doxed his information, or his wife's information, I should say, where he went on stream. I don't know that I know very many streamers who will go on Kiwi Farms on stream, right? There's just like, but besides the chance of seeing like doxing, Kiwi Farms doesn't have any restrictions, right? You could scroll down and see a picture that is going to nuke your channel or something like that. But he did, and then he posted links to it, which are still available on his website. Also, I think Slap's completely off the table. Like, I'm very confident, even if it's not considered malicious, they do have some restrictions, of course. Mostly around legal things. Like, I have no problems with Kiwi Farms. Like, I think there should be. Well, I do have one problem with Kiwi Farms. I think it's okay to keep records of locales online. I think it's funny, things like that. The only problem I have with Kiwi Farms is the doxing. I get it. The legal information coming around it after the information has been doxed. I wouldn't use that as a reason to shut down Kiwi Farms, but many people will. While I know a lot of my information on the current legal status, while I know a lot of you want more information on my current legal status, I am limited on what I am allowed to say at this time. Wow, you're finally shutting your mouth about the fucking case? Really? You should have done that from the beginning. I hope justice prevails. Me too. I really do hope justice prevails in the court system. And I'm more than willing to fight back for as long as it takes. If you're able to contribute to my defense fund campaign, you can do so here. Now remember, this guy's begging for money as he's going on trips, different places, plane tickets, hotels, going to events, paying probably thousands of dollars to do all of this stuff. And he wants you to pay for his defense. Now, let's see if it's changed since the last time I looked at it. He did get to 80,000. Let's pop up here. So he got one. His last one was 12 hours ago. 1 day ago when he popped the message. So we're at what, $40, $70. And then the other one was before any of this stuff came out. Oh, you weren't blocked, but I have been muted since criticizing him and McDizzle over the Ubisoft situation. Yeah. So begging for money got Smash $70. Now, if you want to see how he made it to the 80,000 mark, I'm pretty sure it's because of this guy, Max Resist. Keeps giving him $1,000 and then saying this statement: "When will the witches learn?" I was muted way before that. Well, it's not. We don't need to argue who got muted first, because I got blocked, then unblocked, and then muted because he didn't want to look like a pussy. So we have Max Resist $1,000. I doubt it's the real. I doubt it's the real Aaron. It could be though. We got your back, Smash. Who is? I've been blocked ever since I said he stole someone else's story. Nice. Anonymous giver, anonymous giver, anonymous giver. Nobody gave $5. All right. Adam Petro. Here's Max Resist again. $1,000. When will the witches learn? Load more. This guy seems to be solely funding Smash's case. Like, there's little things here or there. Oh, there's Max Resist again, 2 months ago. Then we keep going. Max Resist 3 months ago. Every month, this guy is giving Smash JT $1,000. 4 months ago. And then another $100 6 months ago. So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. Nothing really to it. Like, I'm not doing a deep dive on who this Max Resist is. I probably couldn't find anything out anyway. But he at least has one whale who every month will come in and give him some money. So Gigabear Panda is Grum's whale and Max Resist is Smashes. That's right. That's right. After this one, though, our buddy Damage Sector, call out to Damage Sector, made a really good post that I want to go through there. And of course, Eric said nothing. Bro sending his whole salary to Smash. He's like, "It's okay, bud. Here's my last $1,000. My kids won't be able to eat, but at least you'll get that witch." So Damage Sector comes in and says, "I have received a deluge." You know, he's making her statement about the deluge of comments. So she does too. So who cares? Right. I would argue she gets more, but I don't really know what Smash is getting, right? Yes, I have the receipts. Feel free to share them whenever you want. I agree. I have done nothing that merits any. I've done nothing that I should be afraid of. So if you want to drop them on me, drop them on me. She has doxed my home address. Yes, and as you know, I called this out. Agreed. I remember, because when I first saw it, it was over the court case. I actually almost put it online, but then I found out the address was on there and came back. Yes, they should not have put the address on there, especially when we're talking about a case that is a harassment case. I guess both of so I guess both you both got the Doxers Union membership card, because he shared the link to her docs. Some of this stuff is stuff I've already said. Attempted to cause strife in my marriage. Yes. Wrongfully accused me of harassment. That's debatable. And laughed about me working at gaming. You and your community have been making fun of her for a long time, so I don't know what people are supposed to think of with this statement. It's also like the weakest thing. Oh no, she's making fun of my gaming career. Like, grow up, fucking pussy. She and her legal team have now shared what I thought would be a private information. There's a chance I'll agree with this, but anything used in court is public record, and you should know that. The question is, did they share stuff given to them in discovery that was not supposed to be used in the official court documents or submitted for exhibitionists? I mean, I think there could be an argument for it there. But I know with there have been talks about sealing information, but I'm pretty sure so far the judge has denied all sealing of information that has come their way, except for like very common things that get sealed, like addresses, names, date of births, all of that stuff. And what could I only imagine was done in an attempt to defame and discredit me in the eyes of the court. So countersue if you think this is true. God bless the judge for not sealing the information. Cinema. Yes, I cannot wait until the next document comes out with them restating their case with the information that they've got. I don't know when it's going to be, but we'll see. So countersue, yeah, no one cares because there is no legitimate connection to New York. As far as I know, this is correct, but they said that they will refile in California if they can't, so it really doesn't matter. Oh, what did he say? In California, if they can't get New York jurisdiction, so this really doesn't matter. They are actually going to follow through. Yeah. My family and I have been forced to live in constant fear. I mean, I get it. My question is, if this is true, why do you like to clap back at people who criticize you by posting pictures of you with your family while pointing out how much fun and carefree time y'all are all having? Facebook, we used to call this like Facebook and Instagram families, where they're posting constantly happy pictures of themselves and things like that. But like the people who know them, the people who are close to them, know that they are like straight up almost getting into fist fights, if not getting into fist fights, families that are not happy, abusive, toxic, whatever you want to say. This is a common tactic that people use to try and seem happy, seem like everything's okay. While I know a lot of you want more information on the current legal status, I am limited. You've been talking about this case a lot. Why is there a problem now? Not much has changed for the other times you talked about it. Maybe he actually started listening to us when we were talking about him constantly talking about the case and how Ron is probably out of his mind having a client that just won't shut the fuck up. I'm hopeful justice will prevail. Fair enough, and I'm curious to see how this plays out. So, Damage Sector, everybody, with a good post coming through. Finally, I wanted to bring up something. Oh, well, there's this one. Every single time Smash gets in hot water, he posts his family pictures. So random tards are going to comment on it, and he uses the victimize himself. It's like a weird pattern. Yeah, it very much is. He's using his family as a shield. He does it because I think he does it for two reasons, and I've said this before. One reason is anybody who criticizes those photos, he can say, look how evil these people are, blah, 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 blah. And then the other one is people do go into his posts. You have to go down a little bit sometimes, saying, oh man, it's okay. You're a good looking family man. So he gets those positive comments he needs, those updoots, those people who are like there for him, so he can look at that and see, it's okay. People still like me, guys. People still like me. It's all right. I'm doing the right thing. So here we have another one of Smash crashing out. Like, I don't harass her. I don't, stalk her. I go to Blue Sky and find all of her shit again. Now she said, ChatGPT helped me wipe my butt, which way do I do it? Oh, ChatGPT help me wipe my butt. Which way do I do it? Very vague posting, right? Very vague posting. Then Smash just has to say something. He said, Alyssa Mercante is now openly mocking the use of ChatGPT, following her exposing discovery material of my use of ChatGPT, while also claiming to be being the one harassed and suing me for it. Although whatever else she's thrown at the wall, apparently she's allowed to harass me, though, because it's different. Bud, she doesn't even mention you here. Only people who are in the know would know this. And I'm sorry. Well, yeah, bait, hook, line, and sinker. I'm sorry. This isn't harassment. She can make fun of you. Like, the problem is the Smash doesn't know there's a line, right? There is a line between making fun of people and joking and harassment. Dude got aggroed because his ego can't handle it. Smash is a lolcow. He's 100% a lolcow. I don't care what anyone else says on the definition. He has to do all these posts. He has to say something. He has to find out what she's saying about him. He can't help himself. I guarantee you when certain things happen that I'm not going to talk about on here, he's going to blame Alyssa for that too. So yeah, there's that one. And then finally, I thought this one was very funny. We're going to end it on a funny note, probably a little bit early, but Mario Nafal said MIT researchers have mathematically proven that ChatGPT's built-in sycophancy creates a phenomena they call delusional spiraling. You ask it something, it agrees. You ask again, and it agrees even harder until you end up believing things that are flat out false. And let's see here. And you end up believing things that are flat out false, and you can't tell it's happening. The model is literally trained on human feedback that rewards agreement. People have been saying this since AI first came out. It's not made for, it's made by companies that want you to engage with it, and they use the same tactics that every other company uses to try and get people to buy stuff. Microtransactions, all that other stuff that they do it here. It's just with ChatGPT, it agrees with you. It reaffirms your bias. It makes you feel good. Real world fallout includes one man who spends 300 hours convinced he invented a world-changing math formula, and a UCSF psychiatrist who hospitalized 12 patients for chatbot-linked psychosis in a single year. So this is kind of insane. I want to read this document. I want to go back through and read it. Smash decided to comment on it. Very concerning. Best safeguard is to ask it to cite its sources for anything it says. I've constantly gotten chatbots to admit they made things up. Yeah, it's something that you can easily do. I saw something. I was watching a tech guy talking about ChatGPT and things like that, and they had proven that ChatGPT can't even do basic math right. It was like if you do a multiplication but it's over a certain number of characters, the ChatGPT can't answer the question correctly. And even after you say no, that's wrong, it'll try and answer it again and it'll still get it wrong, because there are a lot of things involved with it, but a lot of people think that ChatGPT it's not, when they say artificial AI, it doesn't work through problems, right? It just finds something online and copies and pastes it. You can just Google key terms to make sure the AI is saying is at least correct. Yeah, but the average person like Smash JT isn't going to do that. They just take it as gospel. This thing is telling me what I wanted to hear, or what I want to hear. It must be right. Or this thing told me this thing, and that must be right. But in fact, it's not, unless you understand how to use it. It's a worse version of a search engine. It's like a worse version of a search engine, because you can do a search engine and find the information that you want to hear, right, by asking the search engine the right question. This is even worse about it, because it'll change the answers to make you happy. AI LLMs are a multiplier for what you know, and 0 times 0 is still 0. Even worse, if you're retarded, you might get a negative number. So Smash JT said, very concerning. It's important to remember to think of yourself and challenge AI, and not just to immediately, or not to accept the immediate answer. He's trying to use this to be like, yeah, that's why I asked other questions to the Chat GPT bot, not realizing he's the one in psychosis. He's the one that, like, the challenge, add Indian. Oh God. Like this, the level of awareness is in the negative. So Smash is going to end up in a mental hospital because of AI psychosis, right? He's going to be one of these guys that falls in love with ChatGPT and marries it, even though he's already married. So I wanted to end on that because I thought that was hilarious that Smash is trying to use this to explain why he was manipulating ChatGPT to give him the answer he wanted. Oh, man. But with that, guys, I want to thank everybody for coming by. If you haven't, like the stream on the way out, helps me out a bunch. I killed my channel by being gone for 3 weeks, but we're going to build it back up, and we're going to get to that road to 500. Goal is to get to 500 by the end of the year, maybe more. We'll see. But everyone have a wonderful night, guys, and I will see y'all on Friday.